And live. Welcome back to Otter Players Podcast, episode 26, where this week we're just going to talk about the ninth generation and the story so far, what's been going on, how are we feeling about it, put our finger on the pulse. There's also discussion about the silent protagonist as it refers to JRPGs or RPGs in general, and can that continue, as well as Helldivers 2 in the future, to what that may actually mean and what's going on with the updates and what can they really do to keep people interested. But besides that, we got a little more, but we'll go ahead and get into our intros. So without further ado, Morgan, how are you? And what have you been playing?
I'm good. Can't complain. It's for once it's an actually nice day out today. Not too hot for, not in like the blazing want to kill yourself or want to die from heat stroke type of heat,
Yeah,
And it's not raining like it's been for the past week and a half where we got flood warnings every other day. So, nice day.
no doubt.
So I feel good.
Good.
But yeah, as far as gaming, I have basically been obsessing, I should say, over Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. Been playing that on PS5 for the past probably week, I think. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's really fun, really addicting, kind of, tower style game. Um, Basically you're moving your pawns, which are, your villagers, and getting through the levels by making sure you have the appropriate villager type. So there's the huntsman, they have like axes, those are your ground fighters. You have, the archers, which are, obviously they handle the enemies that fly. And then you have your healers, you have kind of like a mage style one that kind of like makes your enemies freeze for a certain amount of time. You have a sumo class that essentially distracts the enemies to their position so that you can, get to your objective. The objective of the game, you're trying to like it says, like Path of the Gods. You're trying to clear a path and clear the demons out of this mountain that has these demons have taken over. So you are a protector of a goddess. So you're essentially she's clearing a literal path from point A to point B for each level, and you have to protect her as she clears the path. You clear it. She clears it during the daytime, and at nighttime, that's when the demons come out, and that's when you essentially turn the villagers into the different classes that I was discussing, and you use them to protect her from the demons that are coming to attack. So it's just about each level's different. It's different terrain, different enemy types, and you have the duration of the day to get your villagers ready. It's about like probably like 5 6 minutes to turn your villagers into the positions that you want and get them set up in the field, and you can place them in different positions and like that, just to protect her until night ends and day begins, and then she can start carving the path again. So it's just that it's basically that's the gameplay loop, and it's very interesting because, like I said, it's different terrains, different enemy types, and you face bosses, and but yeah, it's just been a really really good game. I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. It kind of went seems to have gone kind of under the radar because it's not a typical big AAA action adventure game. So it just seems like people aren't really necessarily talking about it or playing it. But I'm loving it. It's on all platforms but Switch, and it's on Game Pass if you have it. So I say definitely play it. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to see if I want to go for the platinum because it gets definitely it gets a little difficult when it comes to the challenges for each level. Like sometimes it'll be like don't use any heal for this level, or do a level where the goddess that you're protecting doesn't get hit, or that you don't get hit. Different
Hmm.
challenges for each level, so it's
It's pretty tough.
yeah, it's pretty tough. It can get pretty tough, and I'm trying to like 100% each level by doing the different challenges and unlocking everything. But yeah, it definitely tests your patience, because you can level up your villagers. You use the enemies, they drop little orbs and stuff, and you use that to essentially it costs to change a villager into a different class. So you use the orbs that you collect from the enemies to change them, and then with each level that you beat, you get like these beads or whatever, and those are the things you use to level up your villager class. So, and there's a lot of different classes, and then you also use that to level up your own character and add. So it's a lot, and it's challenging. So I'm hoping to do it, hoping to get the plat, because I like it. I think one of the trophies that you have to do in order to get the plat is you have to beat the entire game again in like what 30 minutes or something like that. What is it, like an hour, something,
Yeah,
some kind of time
it's
challenge? And
extremely fast.
I was like, oh. I mean, the thing is though, I can get through the first level, like the first couple levels now quickly, because obviously I'm higher up in level. But maybe by the end of the game, I'll be so beast mode that it won't seem so like impossible. But right now, I'm just like, oh shit, like I don't know if I can do that. But we'll see. I'm enjoying the game. That's all I can say thus far. I'm really liking it. So I recommend it to everybody. Check it out. There's a demo up also on all platforms. So if you don't know if I'm describing it and you're still kind of on the fence, there's a free demo for you to try. So I recommend trying it.
What's up with the story?
The
Because
story is
most of these game story are always convoluted.
it's not really convoluted. Like it's basically what I described. Like you're protecting a goddess that is essentially the goddess of this mountain, and the mountain's been attacked by demons, and now it's like everything is essentially possessed. Like all these different areas of the mountain are now like covered in this like demonic veil that you have to essentially free. So you're just kind of escorting her throughout all these levels and clearing the mountain and saving the villagers, because the villagers are also
Mm.
like kind of like possessed. So you have to like um, clear clear the villagers up and free them from possession. So
Okay, so
that's
okay,
essentially the
gotcha.
story.
So basically, what you see is the demo. There, gotcha.
Yeah, have you played the demo?
Yeah,
Okay, well then you know the story.
Yeah, I mean it's not complicated. Like
yeah, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
about
It's super
reclaiming.
typical.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah,
reclaiming the mountain, reclaiming the land away from the demons, that have infested the land, and clearing it. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
straightforward. That it's
is
not,
the
yeah,
you
it's
it's
know.
super
also one of
typical.
those
That's what I was
things.
trying to ask.
It also kind of goes into the other topic that we were talking about, like because both of the protagonists, the character you play and the goddess, they're both silent. So it's not
Yeah.
like they're saying anything. It's
Hmm.
that's the story is just what you're going through, and what you're
Mm,
doing um, with everything. So yeah.
gotcha. Thanks.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, fresh. The game that she was talking about was Kunitsugami, Path of the
Yeah,
Goddess.
Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess.
Yeah, so see, fresh popped in and asked. I think it came in like right as you were describing it.
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat for anybody interested.
That's
I'll
what's
spell
up.
it out.
I mean, I am enjoying it as well, so I would also highly recommend it. The game, it's a ton of fun. It's way more in depth than I thought it would be at first. It definitely it's challenging, so I'm not gonna tell some people you're not gonna run into some frustrations. You definitely got to really think. You really got to plan your strategy and how you're gonna
I think
go
that's why
about
I
it.
like it, because there's a lot of strategy involved.
Yeah, I mean that
And
that's
as a
my favorite.
recently, converted, you know, turn-based fan, I think it kind of scratches that itch for me. Like a lot of preparing and getting things done before like the actual action happens. So I think that's why I like it so much.
No, same, same. Um, uh, we'll would go a little out of order this time. I usually get Omar last because I know how excited he is and his 27 games. But Omar, man, how are you? And what have you been playing?
What up? What up? Okay, so I beat a Metrovania called Bow and the Path of the Teal Lotus.
He said the whole name.
Surprisingly,
He said the whole name. Bravo. I'm so proud of you because saying Bo sounds like
Good
I
nothing.
job.
All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
okay. So surprisingly, the whatchamacallit, the game is actually short for a Metrovania. It was genuinely short. Boss battles were great. On PC, grappling hook didn't work most of the time for me, but that's maybe PC thing. Other than that, story is superficial to say the least, up until to the very end. I would just let me be with the game. I'm not gonna read so many text. Zero voice acting. That's the sad thing about it. Great visuals. I I actually want to shout out the dev. I'm not sure about this, but when I played the demo, we fought, and I say we, I mean the people that played the demo, we fought a boss that I didn't get to fight in in the full game. So it almost feels like they went out of their way to create a boss battle just for the demo. Which, if that's the case, insane. Um, Besides that, I am close at the ending of a game called Dungeons of Hinterberg. This is not much Metrovania, but more like action. Like, it's gonna sound crazy, but action persona, which basically how persona operate. You befriend people, and every people gives you a different benefit. And the fun thing about it is you can build up your character however you want. You like mage build, focus on more MP. You want more HP, you can have more HP. My build, I get HP from killing enemy, I get MP back from killing enemies, and I got extra loot. That's my build. Everyone build is going to be different, and I love it. The story for an indie game, surprisingly very well done. Like, I'm actually invested in the story. I was thinking it's going to be superficial, but no, they found a way to make it interesting.
Okay.
Sadly, no voice acting, but anything besides that, I highly recommend it. It's also a short game, like 30 dungeons you gotta beat, and it's not like they're difficult. But what I love about this game is there are 3 or 4 areas. Each area you go to, they give you a main ability and a secondary ability. And these abilities not only are usable in combat, but also outside of combat to solve puzzles or platforming. And that's clever. And it ranges from snowboarding, actual snowboarding, to going to areas where literally you gravity upside down. So highly recommend it. It's actually in Game Pass, I think.
Yeah, it is also in
Dungeons
Game Pass.
Dungeons of Hinterberg. After it, because of Innate, I am actually gonna play maybe Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 or first Flintlock, then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1. But yeah,
That's what's
happy
up.
time ahead.
Sounds like you were playing some good stuff. Yeah, I've heard good things about Dungeons of Hinterberg. I hadn't heard anything about the story, so that was the first for me hearing somebody compliment the story. So, I'm definitely gonna give it a
The
try.
story becomes revealed later the more you play. That's why.
Okay, so it's an emerging story, something where they kind of hold back and give you pieces of it as you go
Mm-hmm.
along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you're
I'm not
doing your
opposed to that.
thing, and all of a sudden it unravel what's going on. And you understand it, and you're like, okay, that's exciting.
Sounds good to me. Weeb, how are you, man? And what have you been playing?
Finally.
Okay,
I'm good. Yeah, since the last time I finally finished Unicorn Overlord.
got the
Got the
platinum.
plat.
Congrats, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh,
Congratulations.
thank you very much, ma'am. Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you too. Yeah, was a great game. Also recommend if you want to scratch that turn-based tactical RPG itch. Yeah, I mean it's a vanillaware game, so you know it's gonna be good. Um, yeah, I mean enjoyed it until the end, so it never really got repetitive. There's always something new to discover when you go through to liberate the next country or area. Um, yeah, with the obviously beautiful art style of vanillaware. I'd say in terms of my tier list, I don't think it's gonna it's not my favorite vanillaware game, but I mean that's it's hard to top. I mean my favorite's Muramasa Demon Blade, probably followed by Odin Sphere and 13 Sentinel. So, but I mean they're all good in the end. Though I do
Mm-hmm.
hope that now that they've basically got their new game out, that there might be a chance that we're going to get Muramasa on the PS5 with a remaster because I think it's about time because that absolutely is top tier. Their bread and butter gameplay that just needs to be accessible outside of the confines currently is because the thing is only on the Wii and there was a Vita version at some point. So basically, it's yeah, nobody gets to play it right now.
Understandable.
Um, Other than that, yeah, I haven't really stuck to one game at the moment. Sort of all over the place. I also played Kunitsu Gami. Also enjoyed it. Not that far yet, so I do have to get back to it and explore it a bit more. But I can definitely see the appeal of it. It's definitely a surprisingly, you know, solid gameplay, fun to play, and yeah, I mean, it was one of those games that when it was released, nobody really had an idea what it actually was about. So that demo definitely helped, and and indeed, if you have Game Pass, it's in there as well, so you don't even have to take any chances there. Other than that, I've played a bit of Roller Dome, Ghost Runner 2. I also tried Rise of the Ronin. There was a trial or demo available on PlayStation.
Mhm.
Um,
Ooh.
yeah, that, I can see the appeal, so I might get to it at some point. There is just too much for me coming and in my backlog to really dedicate myself to this right now. But
No, no, Weeb. There's no
Let me know.
backlogs. There's no
Let me know.
yeah,
backlogs.
Me and you co-op.
Yeah, there's no
yeah,
backlogs.
but
This gen sucks. Just so you know.
Oh
oh,
yeah,
okay.
no games. Boring
Do,
gen.
okay,
Absolutely boring gen.
thanks for clarifying that. That saves me a lot of time then.
Right?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I definitely liked while I saw it. It was generally when it's sort of advertised as being a Souls game, it kind of turns me off because I don't like to waste my time. But this is, I guess, again one of those games more in line with Stellar Blade, right? That it's challenging but definitely doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, I definitely want to check out more of that at the later point in time. And right now, I'm also playing Neon White, which was it's also in Game Pass, which has been out for some time. Shu also liked it a lot. He was also tweeting about it when it came out. So I can see why. It's definitely a fun game. It's sort of a first-person shooter puzzle game, basically, where you have you collect cards that those are your weapons, and each card has a sort of an alt mode where you can basically discard it, and then you get an explosion which can be used to take out enemies, groups of enemies, but also gives you sort of a boost to jump higher, or it just gives you double jump ability. So it basically challenges to meet the target of the level, which usually is to defeat all enemies and then get to the finish line. And you can replay those levels to do it faster and find collectibles. But it's pretty fun so far. It's really a lot. It sort of racks that creative part of your brain, where you just have to think, okay, how can I like? It's generally it's not. I can imagine probably further in it's going to be more complicated. It's you don't really have to think long on how to get from A to B, but you do see that there's like to get sort of the basically the high score, right? The fastest time. You see that there are a lot of ways to be very creative, where you say, "Oh yeah, I can actually, if I combine these abilities, discard both cards at the same time, I can actually skip this part and save a lot of time there." So yeah, it's quite fun so far. So yeah, also totally in line, I guess, with Ghost Runner 2, which also is absolutely amazing. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try a bit of more of these smaller games right now, because yeah, end of August is approaching fast, and Star Wars dropping, new manga series entry, and yeah, and before you know it, it's September with Astrobot, and who
Yep.
knows what else they're going to surprise us with. I mean, Switch obviously has a lot of games coming this fall, so yeah. But yeah, forget I said that anything. This year sucks. There are no games. We have no backlog. It's all a figment of my imagination.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing these days. But no, man, it sounds like you're playing a lot of dope stuff and a lot of dope stuff. Obviously, like you said, coming. That's kind of the thing that I think me and Morgan have been going through as well. It's like the calm before the storm. And then she was saying how Kunitsugami was, another surprise for her, because she's like, it wasn't on the list. I'm the same way. It's like all these games popping up that weren't in the books.
I'm sick of these surprises because it's like, like I recently bought a calendar so I can actually start physically writing down, when these
I,
game releases are
oh,
happening.
I
And just
have done that too, but more
yeah,
so because I pre-ordered a shit ton of games, and I'm like, I have to put it
you
in there
forget.
because there's a good chance that I might actually order it twice because I forgot that.
Oh yeah. See? Yeah. So I'm like, I gotta sit down, write it down, write which platform or whatever it's coming on and when it's coming. And it's just like I got my list mentally, but then like these surprise games, like, I saw Kanetsugami and it looked interesting, but I didn't really know what it was about and what it was. So I didn't really think about it. And then the demo was on there and I tried and I was like, oh shit.
Mm.
And I just know there's gonna be like at least 2 or 3 more games just like that aren't on my list, and they pop up, and then I try them, and I'm like, "Oh, fuck, another game." So it's just yeah, I don't
Oh,
know what these people are talking about with this year, with 2024 being dry.
oh,
Alright,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
wish.
But before I forget, I did also try Flintlock, and I'm glad to tell you it sucks. It saves you a lot of time.
Okay. All right, yeah, because that was another one I was looking at maybe trying, but a lot of y'all have been saying it wasn't that good,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll just pass.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I didn't play a lot of it. Like I just kind of called quits after the prologue. But the thing is, like this is quite in line with the developer who made this. These are the sort of these AA titles that they make. But I think that I definitely can say that the trailer made the game look better than it actually does, because it doesn't
Oh man,
look good at all.
yeah. All right, well, that's at least a little relief.
But
Yeah.
hey,
Um,
if you have Game Pass, it's free. So
yeah,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I
That
do.
that
So
was that was kind of Priscilla's thing, and she ended up beating it. So, she actually ended up liking it, I guess, well
all
enough to
right,
beat it. But it was actually pretty short. Like, I think she
oh,
started it
that's
and beat it
impressive.
in the same day. Like,
oh
like,
dang.
yeah, it was like, I think she was on it for like 8 hours maybe or something. Like,
Oh, okay.
she smashed it. So, yeah, it's not.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to go further and further and get more, more of the stuff, um, then yeah, I mean, you could grind out. I guess it seems more like there's a lot of optional stuff, but like if you're just pushing through and
Mhm.
you just want to go through the main, like maybe 8 hours, and unless you run into any difficulty, because I mean, it is like you said, it kind of Souls like, but yeah, like I said, it was okay. I did like some of the combat and stuff. Like the game wasn't bad. Like I don't want to cause like I did try it a little bit myself. It's not bad. It's just not inspiring when you look at all these other games, you know what I mean, that are on
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
docket.
we played so many. I feel like we have a certain bar. We're just like, especially with all of us in here having a backlog, and you know so much or so little time, I should say. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta discern and be like, all right, this isn't probably going to be anything remarkable for me. So I'm just going to
Exactly.
go ahead and put it to the side and move on. It's just we have so many freaking games. It's unfortunate, but you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sucks, and then you have the classics that sometimes you want to go back, you want to experience those. Like you said,
You know,
you want
like
to go back and
listen,
play Death
the way
Stranding.
I am fighting this urge to play Death Stranding again. Like I am fighting it so hard because I was thinking about the other day, like man, this would be a really good time. It was like raining the other day. I was like, man, it'd be a really good kind of vibe to get into Death Stranding. I was like, no, don't do it, Mark. Don't do it because if you do it, you're gonna be lost in it forever. Because you can be in that game forever. So it's just like, you know what? Let me not.
You really can. You really can. Um, but no, yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Right now, myself, I'm also playing, like I said earlier, Kunitsugami. The game is a lot of fun. They say it can be tough at times, like I mentioned earlier. Morgan knows personally my frustration with the third boss that you come across. It's kind of a
Yeah,
kind of a skill check. Like that boss got on my last nerve
yeah.
until
It was
I
definitely
finally
a
got
jump.
it.
It felt like a definite jump in difficulty, like a spike. Like I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely did that. I mean, that is like a famous Japanese thing at this point. Like random, difficulty spikes and skill checks early on. It's like there always seems to be
Hmm.
one. Like they love doing that. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, like I said, that one's a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm loving the depth in that game. I'm a big fan of that. Like Morgan was saying earlier, like I'm a huge strategy fan. So anytime a game has more depth and more strategy than I realized, where you can, evolve your skills, or the skills of your minions or whatever you upgrade in the world, like constant emerging gameplay mechanics. I'm a huge fan of that. So Kunitsugami is definitely showing its worth there. Um, I am also playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, just the campaign. I've always played the campaigns on those, but I stopped buying COD um, for years at this point. The last one I did purchase was the Modern Warfare 2, because like obviously that was like a promise of a return to form, which of course if anybody's played it and you played the original Modern Warfare 2, you know they lied. It was not, it was anything but that. um but again, like I said, I always used to love the campaigns, but I would never buy an entire Call of Duty just to play the campaign. uh
You
so
can
it
start selling the
you know
campaign separately because that's literally 90%. Like most of the time, that's all I'll ever play. Like I
yeah.
might jump on a match of team death match every now and again,
Mm-hmm.
but the only thing I ever play on Call of Duty is, you know, the single player main story campaign.
Yeah, and I thought they considered it at one point, selling it for like, 24.99 or something, just on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, I could swing that. I could do that. Because I think their single players are really well crafted. First person shooter
Yeah.
stories, especially if you've been following it. That was something Omar was asking me when he saw a character, and obviously my recollection kicked in, and I was like, oh, that's so and so from part two, and this and that, and the Modern
Eh?
Warfare remake and Modern Warfare 2 and then Modern Warfare 3 are all interconnected stories with Captain Price and Ghost and the
Para.
Commander Farah. So yeah, the story and everything in that is really great. Obviously, graphically, Call of Duty looks really great. It doesn't take much to run it at a high fidelity as well. So if you're trying to play it on PC or anything like that, and they look great on consoles, they all play 60 to 100 plus FPS. I mean, again, they just do a really good job as far as the single player goes. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from them at all. But like you said, Morgan, like it's like if when you fall out of that multiplayer realm though, it's like you don't really care anymore. You're just like, like you said, TDM here and there, but it's like you really don't really care for it. And I was explaining to Omar a big reason for me is really just the networking, because obviously anybody who's played multiplayer in general, your network connectivity is a huge component of that experience online. So when you've got double the ping or worse
I see
of
your ping.
people, yep, it is bad. Like Morgan knows,
Mhm.
we played because we played. I think it was
Yeah, we
Modern
played for a
Warfare
little while.
2. Yeah, we played
Yeah.
probably like 40 matches or something over the course of a couple days, and every match we
Yeah.
played, we were 60 ping plus. And that's, I mean, we were winning. I mean, we were knocking them down a lot of like most of the matches, but it's like imagine how much better we could have done with some solid ping, you know. Uh, there's definitely no shortage of players across the United States for us to play with, so there's no excuse to be getting, less or such a high ping on a game as popular as Call of Duty. At least without bad programming or whatever's going on with their network coding and them trying to do skill based matchmaking, and it's just creating a mess. Hopefully one day they get it together, but I don't think it'll be anytime soon. We'll see. Black Ops 6 is coming, and we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying the story on that. Probably finish that up pretty soon. I do love the Call of Duty stories because, like I said, they're like an action movie. You know, get in, things explode, you do a bunch of different stuff. It's like a theme park. You jump in, you might jump off a plane, do some night ops, SWAT team like stuff. you know it's very very well done. Like I said, I can't take that away from them, which is sad to say because a lot of people actually, percentage wise, don't actually touch the single player in Call of Duty games, which has always been a big disappointment for me.
I mean, I will say the campaigns are very Michael Bay inspired, big, explosive, in your face, you
Mm-hmm.
know, high octane action style. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like a nice little, and like I said, they're never super long. They said it's like a nice little action movie, that you get to play through. Um, and it's as hard as you want it to be. They've got the veteran or realistic, which I usually complete all the campaigns on veteran, at least when I play them on PlayStation, just to get the trophy or whatever. Usually get like if you get like shot twice, you're dead, and the uh, the NPCs are very accurate. But yeah, and then of course I'm also finishing up the platinum run. Like we mentioned, he got it already for Unicorn Overlord, but I'm also finishing up a platinum run for Super Robot Wars T. If anybody knows anything when it comes to me, I'm a huge fan of Super Robot Wars. I've got all of them that are currently available on modern day platforms. And Super Robot Wars T was one of the later ones that I owned it on Switch, and then I eventually got it on sale on PlayStation. So now I'm just finishing up, honestly, the last two trophies, which is just experience the game from the other protagonist's viewpoint and get basically a perfect score on all the missions, which isn't really too hard on New Game Plus. But yeah, like I said, lots to play, lots coming. Like everybody said, like we're kind of like this was supposed to be a reprieve, but it just honestly there just always seems to be something coming, which again is not a bad thing. Which is again a perfect segue to our first topic. But before we get to that, Omar did have an amendment to add to his game that he finished, the Metroidvania. He wanted to add something to it. So you said something happened with the developer, Omar?
Yeah, not the developer, but the publisher.
Okay.
Their staff, all of it got laid off, sadly. So yeah, I have no idea where they're gonna stand with this one. It's such a shame because the game's great. So it's gonna be interesting to see if other publishers pick them up, or the developers are gonna be screwed as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to see. Like, I see here, Humble Games cited, basically, obviously, challenging economic times, which we're all aware of. Everybody's going through it at this point. Being a big proponent of that. Everything's expensive. You got to make more money to stay afloat. I mean, I'm sure someone can probably find a store somewhere near them that's closing down. Uh, Anybody that lives in America knows what Big Lots is. There's one down the street from me that is honestly busy all the time, and even they're closing. So it's
Wow,
just
no one is safe, eh?
yeah, no one. I mean, that store has been here for years and years and years. So it's like you just never
That's
know.
crazy.
Yeah, and it's like stores just can't. I mean, that's a major store. That most likely, what I find is happening at least locally in brick and mortar stores and stuff, is that of course, most of these stores don't own the lot that they're in, so basically, the same way you pay rent where you live, they pay rent on the lot. So once their contract is up, then sometimes the landowner of that particular lot gets kind of greedy, especially if other stores have moved in that might generate more traffic for them. And I know they recently a brand new like souped up Goodwill moved in next to them, as well as like a sneaker shop. And then there's a Ross in the area as well. Again, all more American branded stores. But again, like when you get more stores that are decently popular that drive traffic, they think, hey, well, I'm gonna up the rent, and it sucks because that removes the convenience for people who live in the area. Because the next one up from me and that particular place, like I go to Big Lots weekly to get the water that Priscilla drinks. It's a special water. But this place in particular has like the best deal on it. So I would go there each week, and it's literally like, honestly, like 2 blocks away from me. And the next one is probably 10 minutes away. So it's like, that's a big difference, by car, something that took me a minute to get to versus 10 minutes, there and back. It's a big difference. But, yeah, it sucks that, to see another studio run into some issues. It did suck as well because I also seen on the post, if you look at some of the comments, it seems like some people kind of were blindsided by the announcement that actually work for the company. So we are also seeing examples of that again, where people who work for the company are unaware, and are kind of like, wait, what's going to happen to us? What's going on? Or so it does suck to see that as well, because none of us want to find out our company is having an issue via Twitter. So again, yeah, that's not fun at all. But in hindsight of that, more positive news, because this isn't really a topic, but Omar did want to mention it, and this was a big success for this franchise, coming from Software. Armored Core 6 went on to sell 3 million copies. So shout out to them. That's a huge success for that series in particular. That's never really, it's kind of been more of a cult following, a real niche game. I've played them over the years, since PS2, and had a lot of fun with them. So to see that game kind of thrive and bolster, and it looks like they might be also considering some DLC as well. So I know a ton of people who that was literally their first Armored Core, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So shout out to FromSoft for another successful IP, or at least bringing one back. But
I'm not sure
yep.
they know how to miss.
Not at this point. Not as far as their fans go. So we'll see. Armored Core 6 is still something I still have to get through. I did start it a long time ago, when it first came out. So it's something I'll look to finish as well. But it is tough. So another warning. I always like to forewarn people, when they hear about the success of certain games and stuff, they might be interested, but that's another one I will forewarn people. And it does not let up at all. If you look back to when the game came out on Twitter, you can see a ton of people getting smacked by the first level of the game. So it does not play around at all. Hey, what's up, Henry? Picking up Unicorn Overlord next week. That's what I like to hear, man. Picking up, one of my games of the year personally, so I'm all about that. Yeah, see, Henry knows what's up. He's talking about he uninstalled after he got to a certain boss. See, that's what I'm saying. Like that game is no joke. So yeah, be forewarned if you're interested in Armored Core 6. That game is not going to play around. But yeah, like I said, in more positive light, or not necessarily positive light, but more a wider discussion. The 9th generation, the one we are currently on, if people are not familiar, which includes the PlayStation 5, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox Series X and S, which apparently is still confusing people at retailers, by the way, which we warned people that would happen, by the way, so that doesn't have to do with the topic, but a funny note. People were apparently still buying stuff for their Xbox One X or Xbox One S, and confused by the Series S and X label on current games. But again, people thought that we were being extra about that, and that wouldn't confuse people. And yet up to, this week, people are still getting confused and buying the wrong version of games. So yeah.
Let us think in. They put console war so far ahead that they made fun out of a crew.
Yeah.
Instead, Xbox insulting, ridiculous, confusing fuck name. Console war at its finest.
I mean, I think it shows the importance of naming your consoles properly, or at least in a non-confusing manner. So let's hope Nintendo's paying attention and doesn't pull a Wii U for their Switch 2.
I mean, yeah, why is it so difficult to stay with PlayStation? Like, is it so wrong what PlayStation is doing? 1, 2, 3, 4,
No.
5, 6?
The issue, at least when it comes to Xbox, is that they are one generation behind PlayStation. Remember, they didn't come out to the PS2, so they would be one number behind PlayStation.
And they didn't
And
want to be.
marketing wise, you don't want that
That's a
because
good one.
marketing wise, you don't want that because it makes it seem like you have a less powerful device. So if it'd be the PlayStation 5 against the Xbox 4. So in people's mind, people who don't really know about consoles, in their mind, 5 is greater than 4. So they'd be like, oh, that's a
I
worse
had no
system.
idea about this one. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
make a lot of sense with this observation. Shout out to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no, that's a very accurate thing to say because again, when it like she said, when it comes to naming stuff, people, I mean, even
Mhm.
now, people freak out the moment anything has 2 in the title, and they're like, wait, can I play that first? Can I like? So you're always confused, or what have you. So if something, which again still is ironic, like you said, because they bothered to name something the Xbox One, which then just confused
Mhm.
people further because people are
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, it's
We're going
between
back
the
to
Xbox
1.
One and
Hmm.
Series X and X.
Then 360. It was just, yeah,
Yeah.
all over the place. I'm very curious to see what the next name is. Like, I think that's always one of the funner things about Xbox. Like, I usually don't really care about the consoles, but I'm always interested what their next naming scheme is going to be because it's just like I wonder if they pull these names out of a hat. They probably I'm sure they test them among like, you know, they have like testers that they try the names out. Like, how does this make you feel? Does it excite you? Does this name bring
Hmm.
about any type of feelings? But I'm interested to see what the next name, if they're going to continue with the series and maybe just call it some different letters,
Yeah.
or if it's going to be a whole nother naming scheme.
No, I agree.
Xbox Series P because it's going to be portable.
It's portable. Yeah. Like I'm in the same way with you. I'm very interested to see what they name this next Xbox, which they promise us so far that it's coming. So, they
Yeah.
say they're working on new hardware. They say they're not abandoning, the Xbox. So I'm interested to see what their game plan is going to be and what they name it going forward.
Oh,
So
it's going to
I'm
be
all,
everything. It's going to be a Steam machine. It's going to be portable. It's going to have Xbox Store and Steam and Epic. It's gonna do everything. It's gonna walk your dog. It's gonna be fantastic.
that's
Like,
what I hear.
according,
That's
that's
what
what
I
I'm
hear.
hearing at
I'm
least.
so I'm excited for it. Xbox, if
Yeah.
you're listening, make sure it does all that. Just
Hmm.
because that's the word on the street. So y'all got to live up to that.
It's gonna do all that, just the gaming part. It's not gonna do that.
Yeah, they definitely got to keep up. Ain't no more excuses. They got enough studios. But speaking of
Oh yeah.
of studios, which they acquired most of them this generation, the ninth generation has been a point of contention for a lot of people. We've heard quite a few people from multiple camps. We obviously know why the Xbox guys are disappointed with this gen. That's no surprise. If I was an Xbox only person, I'd probably be disappointed too. Uh, at least in some
Oh man.
capacity. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, and if you also play on
No.
PC, you do not count. I'm not counting
Listen,
y'all, so don't
it's
try
been
that.
pointed out by multiple people. I saw it from Porter Rock first, and it pissed a lot of people off when he said it. But what he said was true. All
Hmm.
the games in the top 20, every single one can be played on a PS5. It's the only console that can play all the top 20 games of 2024.
Well,
You can't play them all on Xbox. You can't play them all on the Switch. I'm not sure. You might be able to play them all on a PC, but as far as console goes, PS5 is the only place you can play those games. So, I mean, they say PS5 ain't got no games, but they got all the top 20. But all right.
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's really the thing that's been going on. People uh I don't know. It seems like people have gone out of their way this generation. I don't know, to have a very different take on this generation than we seem to on the show so far. Obviously, you hear us talk about our backlogs, how much there's to play. You see the chat talking about it as well. Henry already talking about picking up, Unicorn Overlord and all the different games to play, and all the other people that come through the chat and talk about it as well. And it's like at the same time, all you see constantly on our timelines and other podcasts, this generation has been lackluster. Whose fault is it? This, that, and the third. And it's like, look, realistically, personally, like the only way this generation I could see has been any sort of lacking for you is if you play, one particular.
One type of game.
Yeah.
And we all know what that type of game is.
Yeah. Like you're looking for that
Uh,
major, triple A, or, as they coined the term not too long ago, quadruple A, blockbuster, the Naughty Dog, the GTA 6, you're looking for these really specific type of experiences, and that's it for you. Um, but what, in reality, like I said, most of us out here have played plenty of games across many different genres. The Nintendo Switch has obviously been the longest in the ninth generation. It's been running for a very, very long time. We even recently spoke where we're laughing because we were teasing Priscilla because she was saying how she got nothing to play because she's also a big Naughty Dog girl and all these other games, and we love those games. Like, don't get it wrong. But then we went through a bunch of games that were coming up, and by the time we were done, Priscilla had picked out like 20 games that she was interested in.
yeah. And I think it helped that we all were watching like, Gamescom and Summer Showcase and everything like that together. And I think she saw like a lot of games and the PC Showcase, stuff like that. She saw a lot of games that she was like, oh, wait, that looks good. Oh, I got to write that down. She put a lot of games on her wish list. She was like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. Yeah, I'm just like, I understand people who love the AAA genre. I mean, we all in here love that. But there's just so many more games than that. Like, if people just take the
Absolutely.
time to look and try other things, there are games that you will like that are in the AA and single A that you probably enjoy 20 times better than a AAA game. And it's just like people just, I don't know, they just refuse to give those games a chance. It's just like, just give it a chance. You'll be surprised about what you like and don't like. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Henry said it in the chat. He said, you know, what it is for these folks, they're mad that their favorite studio hasn't shown up yet. And, to the point, Priscilla kept complaining, where's my Naughty Dog game, right? That's what she's looking for. That's her
He's
big
not
claim.
wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and she's not, right? We all want that game. But
Yeah.
it doesn't state that the whole generation in particular has been a failure, right? Like, there is so much to play and so many dope games. Even me, right? Like, I frequently talk about how much I'm not the biggest indie person, and I've played tons of indie stuff this generation. And honestly, to me, they've stepped it up a lot. They don't, like, how many times have we gone over stuff with indie games and we're like, that doesn't feel like indie, like this
Yeah.
game is above indie or what is known to be indie. And now people do what all the time? They argue what exactly is an indie game, right? We've had that or seen that conversation all over the
Kinda.
place. Yeah, Kana, Bridge of
Kinda.
Spirits, again, their
And
first
even
AAA game.
Skill Up. Skill Up can not Skill Up. Whatchamacallit? I just finished this game. Stellar Blade.
Mm-hmm.
That can be counted as indie,
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah.
which
mean,
is crazy. If
They
you
they
think
have they
about
have
it.
a publisher, but I mean they made it initially, it was sourced by themselves, and then they had the assistance with PlayStation and stuff later. So they do have a publisher, a major publisher, but regardless, that is that studio's first console game coming originally from making mobile games only. Like, I mean, how do you show up making mobile games only, and you embarrass half the people that's been doing it already long before you? Like, that is impressive. And yeah, I mean, he spoke about it. When he spoke about how much of a fan he was of PlayStation growing up, the director, and how he wanted to always make a PlayStation game, and now look what they've accomplished, right? They've been able to put out what for me and Morgan at least was a flawless product, with the exception of like the jumping mechanic. But the game was just phenomenal. And even though you ran into some issues, you still enjoyed the game a ton as well. Yeah, Liza P. Henry brought up as well. Liza P.
Yeah, that's
showed
a
up.
game must play at some point. Cause apparently I was wrong about the demo. Everyone seemed to have loving except for me. So I'm not gonna give it another go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the full game is out there as well, like you said.
Again, again, the thing is, people are so fixated on just uh triple A that they don't give indies any chance. They underestimate indies, and that's how you end up with each year saying, "Oh, this year is lacking. This year is boring." Is PlayStation not delivering? Yes, they're not. Let's keeping it a buck. When it comes to first party, they're not.
Yeah,
But third party, they are. Indies, absolutely up to wazoo.
single
So
A, double A. I mean, pretty much
I,
every section but triple
yeah.
A, and then
So
even triple A has had quite a few as well. So
it's so difficult to sit there and look at the people saying this is a bad gen with such what you call it, uh, with such genuinity. Like, nah, you absolutely not a gamer. Then I'm sorry. The amount of games that each year being released is astronomical, especially if you broaden up your own what you call it
broaden your
genre.
horizons. Yeah,
Yeah, on Horizon. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with not liking a game because it's too popular. But you know what there isn't? Giving it a try. Demos exist for a reason. And when I see people that said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time on a demo, and I'm just gonna hate on this game," I'm like, "You do you."
yeah. It's definitely a lot of people just missing out just from sheer stubbornness this generation. And I think that's just a major factor. A lot of people forgetting, again, like the generation just has a different pace, and I think that's thrown a lot of people off. Again, PlayStation started off this generation the strongest they ever have. That launch lineup was incredible. I still haven't played everything or finished everything from that alone, just with all the games I've had to experience. And then a lot of games are being, still being updated for longer. Sanctus in the chat reminds me all the time because she is a big Sims fan. The Sims 4 is still constantly being updated despite them working on the next iteration, and they're adding a ton of stuff to that. That's something, I played a long time ago myself, but seeing all the updates, hearing her talk about it, the innovations and stuff they're adding to the game, like tons of things you couldn't even do before. And then, of course, recently, the major comeback story of No Man's Sky. Like, I mean, you've got a lot of games that are just lasting a lot longer, which is, I mean, saying a lot for us and our dollar and the games that you like. Like, I mean, a lot of people would love for their favorite games to continuously be updated with new gameplay mechanics and constantly evolving, to new levels and new heights as this generation goes on. Especially while they're working on a new iteration. But I know, Henry. I know The Sims. It surprised me too. It don't get me wrong. It's expensive. I'm not gonna get into their monetization scheme, cause Lord knows it'll cost you about $400 if you don't get that thing on sale to get all the DLC and all the stuff in it. Like, it gets crazy. But to be fair, like I said, they've been updating it a lot and adding a lot to it as well. So you just never know. But
EA is going to be
yeah.
EA,
Oh yeah,
which is why they
exactly.
need competition.
Exactly. Which is, shout out to a couple people that are finally giving the Sims a run for their money. There's some stuff that was announced for, I can't remember the name of the company, but I know that Morgan, you saw it
It was
as
like a
well.
Korean dev. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like a Korean developer.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
coming out with their own version of like The Sims, where they're giving you a bunch of the stuff that you normally have to pay for in The Sims with all the expansion packs and kind of including everything at the jump. So again, like we're just seeing competition all over the board, a bunch of different things. Like I said, I'm not loving it all, either. But I always tell people I'm not hating on anybody's, love for certain games because there's so much for me to enjoy that like I can't even play it all. So why would I be upset, that, the 47th Souls-like game coming out, like do
Well, I
I,
actually want to
like
have
that?
that conversation.
Not yet. I know, but not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's gonna go into a whole nother thing. So, but I mean, overall, like I said, you could hear the excitement over the time, that you guys have listened to the podcast. Obviously, the chat. My real question ultimately is, when you look at the ninth generation as a whole, the story so far, how do you feel from how it started to where it is now? How would you rate the ninth generation? You could put a number on it. You could just say how you feel. But think about it from, essentially, we'll say from when the PS5 started. Really, it started with the Nintendo Switch, but I know only me and we particularly have that. But just how it was for you personally from where your ninth generation started to where it is now. How would you rate it? Weep, how would you rate the ninth generation for you so far? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. Like you said, there's so much to play right now. I mean, start with the beginning. Like the way this generation started off, was amazing. Like we didn't really have that before. That at least one of the consoles decide to make an effort to have a killer launch lineup,
Yeah.
and yeah, that and they delivered on that, and
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, there are still games on there that I haven't got around to, that I definitely want to give a try, or will want to continue and finish. Like Returnal, for example. There's so many great games that came out at the beginning of the generation, and they've kept on delivering. There was, of course, the pipeline. We knew games like Ragnarok and Horizon 2 were coming, and now we're sort of in a more uncertain phase in terms of we don't know exactly what's coming in terms of we had know some, there's a Wolverine game coming, and we obviously know there's going to be, a Horizon 3 and a Spider-Man 3, and we know that Naughty Dog and Santa Monica are cooking something, but we don't know what, and we don't know when it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that obviously is in the whole Activision Blizzard deal. Probably has thrown a sort of wrench in the cadence that they, or let's say the transparency that they were giving in terms of, okay, what's our roadmap?
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is, I don't know, guess a change in direction, a management decision, or whatever, to keep those cards closer to the chest. But on the other hand, it's not that we like that's this is strictly speaking on the first party stuff. It's not exactly that we've are lacking games right now. They have definitely, whether they intentionally done that with making deals with third parties or second parties, with Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, or unintentionally, as in getting those de facto exclusives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they they they've at least made sure for me that I have enough to play. Like if I only owned a PlayStation this generation, I would still not be complaining because
Same.
it has been good so far. Um, And I mean, like I said, like I have a Switch, and there's that's kind of the thing. Like I haven't touched that in a while, and there's still a lot of games on there that I have. My backlog on my Switch is also pretty big right now. I have to get around to it at some point, and there are some great games coming. Like Nintendo isn't stopping either. So in that extent, not sure if that's even a topic. The voice actors are gonna go on strike, which might impact some games. Like
True.
things like when I heard that, like if this was maybe last generation, I would be like, oh no, and I was like, great.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, you guys are gonna give me a breather, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fine to delay those games. Let them go on strike. Let them get their money's worth. If games are delayed, I'm fine. I mean, I have so much to play. And look, I totally get if you're excited for something, like if you're excited for GTA and this somehow gets delayed because of the writer strike, or the voice actor strike. That that sucks. But on the other hand, like there's so much to play right now. There's so like if that's the only thing that's that you're looking forward to. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like it's possible. I mean, I know people that have a PlayStation or an Xbox, and the only thing they're playing is FIFA or Formula One or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But if if you are a gamer, if you're somebody who just lives and breathes gaming and just likes to experience lots of different things, then you have no reason to complain. So yeah, overall, like, I mean, generation isn't over, obviously, so we can't really give it a full grade, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's absolutely A tier, S tier, whatever you want to call it. Like the only, let's say in terms of quality and what we're getting, the only thing that I would say that there are obviously some complaints, like beginning, obviously, how they particularly PlayStation backtracked on the whole, um, basically, cutting the last generation off. They did made actually some decisions to make PlayStation 4 versions of things like Gran Turismo, for example, that I think wasn't originally the plan. Um, I guess you can also critique the sort of trend that was Guest Star last generation, but it's sort of continuing here with trying to remake and remaster games,
Hmm.
which isn't per se bad because some games definitely deserve that, and some remakes are amazing, like Dead Space remake, and I'd say even like The Last of Us remake, which the thing is like why people were saying it wasn't necessary is because the original is that good, right? So it doesn't. There are plenty of games that like just with a movie, like you don't need a remake of a movie that's a classic that's already perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but still, with gaming, there's absolutely things that you can add to it, that you can improve on it, that without changing the core gameplay and the spirit of the game. Um, but yeah, and overall, I do say would agree that we have maybe too many of those. That there is a uh, almost seems in a similar vein that, like I said, with movies, that they are trying to remake older stuff because people know that, or making sequels or whatever instead of trying something new. And of course, it's risky, but on the other
Yeah.
hand, like you know. I'd rather than trying to make a sequel to something than they're remaking the same game that we've already seen. Though I will say the criticism that people sometimes are laughing against it, that they're sort of reducing particular PlayStation to you're only making remakes, is like you're completely off your meds, right? Like you haven't you're really blowing this up out of proportion because you can critique it, but it's not like we're not getting anything else. Um, So yeah, that yeah, I mean, you can critique some decisions like with Sony wanting to go the game as a service route and seem to have backtracked from that mostly, not entirely. That's I guess a thing. And yeah, but overall, if PlayStation, I'm very happy this generation. Switch or Nintendo as well. I mean, they're keep doing their thing, and they've delivered some great new games like Metroid Dread. Um, I also love remakes, but remasters or mostly remakes, but that's fine. They brought the Bob and Kai's collection to Switch. That's great. And yeah, Xbox, they still have a lot of work ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've also mentioned in the previous show, like they have a lot in a lot of bullets in the chamber, right? They have they cannot they would have to really try really hard to fuck it up, right? With the games that they have coming, that there's a lot of potential there. But on the other hand, we have seen them fuck up. Like Hellblade 2 was supposed to be, the game of the generation that's gonna go was gonna be the holy grail of Xbox. And while I did enjoy it overall, I can totally see the criticism of on the game that it was not what it was made out to be in the end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sort of a thing with Microsoft, that they do have a problem with delivering on that. I do hope that with the acquisitions they've made, that they that they have the talent in house, and that they and their hands-off approach is maybe not necessarily helping them, since they're with their own studios. Do I hope that this doesn't, that maybe works for the publishers that they bought, though, as we've been warned time and time again, I've seen the fact that they've been bought by Microsoft isn't necessarily better for those studios and for those developers, because we've seen the layoffs and closure of studios, which was inevitable after such an acquisition, but still sucks to see. But yeah, for Microsoft overall, having the at least and so far they still believe in exclusives, including console exclusives. They have at least a lot of potential there to deliver some great games this generation. But yeah, that's the only I guess platform that still has work ahead of it.
Yeah.
And I suppose technically you could argue the Switch maybe is a last gen console, and then the Switch 2 still is basically the next gen, and that has to sort of prove itself. But I think nobody's worried for Nintendo at this point in time. So yeah, overall, I'm living the good life, as a gamer. I have a smorgasbord of games to play, lots of looking forward to, and this is like, I think in terms of quantity of and to say the offering of quality titles of games that I really want to play. I think it never has been better than this generation. I did not feel that during the PlayStation 4 generation, that that I had a moment where just like I had like 2 years after each other where I had just sort of stress basically to, I don't know how I can fit it all in, right?
Yeah.
All these games coming out, I do want to play them all. There are no games in here that I'm like, okay, cool, I can play it like 5 years from now, whatever. But like, I want to play them right now, but I don't have the time, and that's yeah, that's sucks, but is also a testament to how good the generation is. So yeah, for me, it gets full marks.
Okay. And then one more question added to the end, because this is easy. To add to your point that you made, War wants to know what everyone's prediction is on what they think the next Nintendo console will be called.
I think they're gonna play it safe and just call it Switch 2.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a solid go-to.
Yep.
I mean, I think so
They're,
after the
they're not
Wii
gonna
U
make that
debacle.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna be called the Switch Y or something.
Nah, definitely. So Morgan, coming over to you now, ma'am. Same thing. Uh, how has this generation treated you so far? How are you feeling since this generation has started? You obviously started with the PlayStation 5. And I'm really interested in your take because you're primarily a PlayStation gamer. Um, and started with the PS5 this generation, and you've kind of curated a very special experience throughout this generation. So, how does it feel for you so far? I don't know if Morgan can.
Um,
Oh, there she is. Okay.
no, I heard you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just kind of want to go on a soapbox a little bit because I hear people specifically when it comes to the PlayStation, because I'm like you said, primarily PlayStation player.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear people say all the time, "Oh man, the PS5, man, it's nothing like the PS4. Oh man, PS4, we had bangers, bro. What happened? PlayStation's dying. It's not doing this and that." I'm like, you guys have like a revisionist history of what the PS4 generation consisted of. Okay. It's like, do people not remember like that the first 4 years, PlayStation 4 was referred to as the indie station? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people were picking, specifically Xbox players were picking on PlayStation because the majority of what PlayStation had to offer was indies, right? It was a big place for indies to go, the double A and single A, and PlayStation's like main studios weren't really hitting on all cylinders like that. And at that time, that's when Xbox One was kind of still at its peak, right? They had like the bigger games during the beginning of their generation. But then it switched around like 2017 to 2018, right? And that's when we started getting the Horizons and the Days Gones and the Spider-Man, God of War, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. That's when the big hitters came out during like the last 3 to 4 years of PlayStation 4. And but people like to make it seem like PlayStation 4 was like hitting on all cylinders during the entire generation, and that's just not true. It's just,
Absolutely.
like with anything, we remember the latter half of something a lot more than the beginning, right? Because that's where we recently just came off of. So everybody remembers all the big bangers that came out in the last few years of the PS4, and they like to claim that that was the PS4 in the entirety, and it's not true. And we're only 3.5 years into the PS5, but people expect like the PS4 in generation to be the beginning of the PS5 and for it to be that way the entire generation. And I'm just like, that's not how it works. Like, you have to remember also that the last year of PS4, right, which is the same year the PS5 came out, we had two big AAA games come out, Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. Like, it's going to take time for those studios, particularly Naughty Dog and um, Sucker Punch, to come out with another game after that. Like, I understand those were PS4 games, but that doesn't mean that when they get a PS5, all of a sudden they already have a PS5 game ready. Like, oh, we hit reset, so we got another game ready for you guys. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And it's just people don't seem to take that into account. And they're just like, no, it's a new generation. They should have it already. And I'm just like, listen, if PlayStation wanted to play that long game, they could have just delayed The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and made them PS5 games, but they didn't. Right? They allowed them to come out when they were ready at the end of the PS4 generation. Unlike the competitor who didn't have damn near anything the last 4 years, they sat there and let those games come out. And then at the same time in 2020, they also had bangers ready for the PS5. Like, people be like, I just like put the PlayStation 5 is doing something so well. Like, they came out like Nate said, strong, hitting on all cylinders, ready to go,
Absolutely.
having exclusives ready. Unlike their competitors who were just like, well, we got Game Pass, so y'all can subscribe to that. they came out swinging, and they didn't have to because their competition didn't have anything. So if they wanted to, they could just been like, "Ah, well, we ain't got nothing either. We're just, we're just new consoles." But no, they came out hitting on all cylinders, and they have been giving us a constant flow of games. Now, whether they're first party, second party, or third party, you know, like I said, they can't force their studios to be ready when they're not. But the thing PlayStation is very good at is having something anyway, putting something and giving, their player base a reason to turn on their console. You know, if we don't have anything, okay, well, cool, we'll make second party deals, we'll make third party deals, we'll give you some exclusives and some incentives to, like, okay, I made a good investment. Like I said, all the top 20 games of 2024, the only console you can play them on is PlayStation. PlayStation has made sure to secure all the bangers that anybody wants to play. 99% of them can be played on PlayStation.
Absolutely.
So, people who want to talk crap and dump on PlayStation, oh, you don't have no first party games. Like I'm not saying that that's a good thing, right? Like I more than anybody want these first party games. I want them to showcase them. I want them to tell us about them. I want them to release. I want to play them. All right. I had that drive and that that want for that, just as much as anybody. But I also understand that, development takes time, and they're not just twiddling on their thumbs and just being like, wait, we don't have anything for you while you're waiting, you just gotta wait. Like they're making sure to secure games for us and have something there for us, to play while we wait. And even with this year, people say this year's slow for PlayStation, they don't got anything. Like they have this was supposed to be PlayStation's slow year, and we've had more exclusives than anybody. As far as first party goes, we've had Helldivers, and then we're gonna have uh, Astrobot and the Horizon Lego game at the end of the year. So it's like
Mhm.
3 first party games this year that we're gonna have, and I'm pretty sure Astrobot's probably gonna be nominated. I don't know, like I'm not gonna call it a winner or anything. The year isn't
Yeah.
over, but from what people are saying, it seems like Astrobot's gonna be, secured for at least the Game of the Year nomination. And Helldivers is like the best multiplayer of the year according to everybody who's playing it. So PlayStation's they're doing their thing. They definitely look like they're gonna have a miss with Concord. I mean, doesn't look like that Concord looks like it's gonna be like the first PlayStation first party L since
Ella,
Days Gone.
biggest L it's
Um,
gonna be.
I don't think it's gonna be as big of an L as Days Gone, but it's gonna be
Hey, be
it's gonna
nice.
be
That,
PlayStation's
Be
first.
nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be their. I think it's gonna be the.
Actually, I disagree with you. I believe it's gonna be worse than Date Gun. You know
Oh, you
why?
think so?
No.
Why?
that's not
Because
possible anymore.
no, let me explain. I'm gonna make total sense of this one.
No.
Date Gun was developed by a studio that had zero fucking experience with AAA titles. This was literally their very first title. While
Mm,
Concord is literally coming from a beast such as Bungie, that came out from Destiny, that came from Halo. So to fuck this up to such degree, well, there you have it. That's why that's a bigger L. Like Bungie shouldn't be making this type of L. And PlayStation,
Hold on. That's it's not
Yeah, I
Bungie
was
who's
like, that's not
developing it.
no,
Bungie's game.
sorry,
You said Bungie.
I thought from Bungie. Never mind, it was Firefly. Never
Yeah,
mind,
I was like,
I
wrong
fucked
company.
up with this one. Um,
Bungie's
I'm just
making
gonna let you go.
yeah,
marathons.
no. Then I take my word back when it comes to one have experience, one doesn't. I do believe that what you call it Bungie, not Bungie, PlayStation
Hmm.
L with this one is worse than Daycon, and
Hmm.
strictly because it's gonna be a continuation to the L. First, they took the L with the faction too, Fiasco,
You
and now
can't
this.
lump factions in with this. Like you can't. No, we're not.
Oh
How you
man.
Because
gonna?
no, because
No,
no,
no.
because
This is about
no,
first
because this
party
is the
L's,
roadmap,
sir.
though. This is the roadmap. They chose this, and and faction flop.
Factions
And
didn't flop. It was canceled. That's not a flop.
it,
That's
that that
canceled.
was them flopping. That's wasting so many and what you
I
call it,
don't disagree with you, but it's not. Wouldn't label it a flop because we don't know whether it was good or not. It was just canceled.
wasting time and money and energy and wasting other studio time and money and energy. It's bigger flop than just releasing a game and flopping. I am
Now,
saying
see, that's the
that.
thing. You're trying to, but I'm talking about Concord, and you're trying to lump that in with Concord. It's not the same. Don't do that.
But Concord is literally what you call it, a PlayStation roadmap though. This is their
Was Days Gone not a part of the PlayStation roadmap?
PlayStation Vision was with games like Light Service.
I mean, but technically, all first-party games are a part of PlayStation's vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but not like this.
Huh?
I
No,
got you.
see, no, Omar, nah.
They switched it up. They went from
Listen, I know you love Days Gone and you don't want it to be the biggest L in
No,
PlayStation's
I
mark.
absolutely, I have, I have absolutely no issue with Day Gone taking the biggest L. I genuinely don't. But it's insulting to see where PlayStation is at right now with Concord. How they couldn't understand that this is not it. Like it's as if they learned nothing.
Learn
Like
nothing
this is
from
Okay, so the only thing I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you is be careful calling stuff an L before it launches because it's not your bag. Because let's be honest, you don't play multiplayer games like
no,
that.
I don't play multiplayer.
So I'm not, as much as I am not a fan of what I've seen from Concord, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an L once it drops because I don't really know. I don't know how it's gonna translate once it's out there, how they're gonna treat it, how it's gonna vibe, because plenty of games have come out and thought they were going to not hit like that, and they end up thriving. So I would just say be careful about pre-labeling it that. I mean, personally, it's not on my radar. I got way too much to play. It's not my bag.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, go ahead with what you were saying, Morgan.
This man threw my train of thought off.
Yeah, I know.
What was I saying?
But no,
you were talking about how Concord is gonna be PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
First L.
Yeah, for the from their first party from the gen.
Yeah.
It's looking
It
like
looks like it looks like their weakest link so far. Yeah.
And honestly, being 3.5 years in, and that's the the first time you're messing up, that's not bad. Like, I mean, they could be like the other side and be taking L's consistently, but but when PlayStation takes L, like it's like the world falls apart. Like, oh my god, like another publisher can like consistently release just ass games and nobody cares. I'll just be like, damn, another bad game, or oh man, that sucks. But PlayStation does it, man. It's like they set a fire in a closed facility and locked 50 people inside. That's how people react. It's so funny. But I mean, I get it because PlayStation has a high bar and a high standard, and so once they fall off of that, people feel some type of way about it.
Mm-hmm.
But a publisher can't be. It's very rare that a publisher is always consistently hitting on 100.
Yeah.
So when they do mess up, I'm just like, it is what it is. And PlayStation tends to learn from their mistakes. So hopefully they'll take this, and if it does end up not working out, they learn from it and it doesn't hinder anything for them in the future. It seems like they kind of got preemptive with it and started kind of backpedaling and axing some of the live service projects that they were intending on releasing. So it seems like they took some preemptive steps and we're just like, okay, we gotta at least cut like for these, like they're just not gonna work. So we'll see how it works out. But as far as the question about the generation goes, honestly, I've played more games this generation than I did last. with PS4, and PS4 is one of my favorite generations. Like I
Same.
said, PS4 is one of the heights of PlayStation, bangers, that we got. But I'm just playing more games this generation than I am last, even with how great it was. Um, I'm consistently like there's like a consistent cadence of games dropping that I want to play. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that my taste has, you know, grown this generation. I started playing jrpgs, turn-based games. Like I was starting my indie journey during the end of the PS4 era, but it's definitely heightened with PS5. I'm playing even more indies. Like I'm just trying to diversify what I play, and I'm just finding, I like so many different types of games. So it's just like there's just so many games dropping now, and I just feel like I don't know. For me, maybe it's just because I'm more in tune with the gaming community this generation than
Hmm.
I was last. But it just seems like there's so many more games dropping this generation than last. And again, that could just be because I'm paying
No,
more attention.
no, because I was very much in tune, like you are now, more with Twitter and the whole Zach Ice going on, and I think it's just way more dropping now as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you.
it just seems more studios opening up, more people developing and making games, and it's just so many different games, right, ranging in from single A to quadruple A, out there that are making games and just interesting to me. So it's just yeah, like Weeb said, this gen has been like S tier for me.
Hmm.
Just I don't even have time to play all the games I want to play. I'm trying to, like I said, I was trying to organize, get a calendar, and write down release dates and windows, and trying to. But then every time I think, okay, this is the list for the year, another two games pop up that I want to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, this generation's been great. Like I said, we obviously want more games from PlayStation's first party. And it looks like from what they've kind of discussed, it looks like 2025 is going to be like the start of it when they said we're not going to have any what is it like sequels to AAA or something like that. Some they
Until
worded like that until
April.
like
Yeah.
until April. So it looks like 2025 is going to be the year when we start, getting those games that everybody wants, which makes sense because it kind of lines in with what I said with how they did PS4 with the last 3-4 years were the years that we got the bangers. Looks like that's kind of gonna be the same kind of cadence with PS5. Like these last few years gonna be where we get our Sucker Punches, Naughty Dogs, Corey's game, Blue Point's game, like um the Ben's game, like all these studios. It seems like that's when we're gonna get the games from them. So I'm interested because 2025 looks even crazier. We're gonna have GTA. We're gonna have Death Stranding 2. We're gonna have like it's just so many games that we saw with Summer Showcase that are getting a 2025 release window. And it's just like I'm while I'm excited for it, I was also just kind of rolling my eyes like, damn, I'm not gonna get any relief. I'm like I'm just gonna have to pick up the pace when it comes to gaming and dedicate more time so that I can get this stuff done and out the way so that I am not even further behind next year,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just this generation has been fantastic for me. I'm loving it. I'm loving my PS5. I utilize it almost every day, like less than tired. I just, too tired to get up and play. But
You also discovered a new genre, eh? Time-based. JRPG.
Omar, you're not listening when I talk. I said that.
She literally said that when she started speaking.
Jeez, Omar.
Okay.
Omar's like, yeah,
Um,
remember this?
but yeah, it's just so much like so much to play, so little time. I just kind of wish I could go back in time back when I was a kid. I had all the time in the world to play, but of course back then I didn't have any money, so I had to basically play what I could. With whether my parents gifted me it or I was able to get some money and play it. You know, I made that tweet. I was just like, man, back then I had all the time but no money, and now I have the money but no time. So
Yep.
it's just it's just like, damn, I'm trying to retire. Like, let me retire it, next year so I could just, dedicate all my time to gaming. Um, but yeah, like this gen has been fantastic for me. Like, don't take my advice to people is, whether it's social media or the people around you, form your own opinion. People are gonna say what they say on social media, whether it's about gaming or whatever. Um, but if you're having a great time, don't let others, diminish or make you doubt whether you're enjoying something or not. Because I see it all the time. People, man, this gen sucks, man. It's horrible. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, this is a fantastic gen for me. I'm having a great freaking time. The games are not only, there's not only quantity, but it's quality too. Like, I'm just enjoying like every game that I played, but that's mostly because, like all of us in here, we know ourselves and we know, the type of games that we like and what type of games we don't. So we're good at discerning which games to play and which not. And like, we might be a game we try and we're just like, we thought we would like it, but we weren't vibing it. But for the most part, we know what games we like and we're good at picking them out and, their quality and we're enjoying them and we don't feel like our time's being wasted. So, you know, it's a great time for gaming. So yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm gonna have 6 or 7 at least personal, game of the years before the year's out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a plethora of quality games for me in 2024. So
No,
I can't speak for everybody else, but it's great for me.
I agree. I agree. I am thriving on everything but time this generation, for sure. Um, and before me, of course, last but not least, Omar, how has this generation been for you? This is your first time with a PC, a really capable PC, we'll say, as well as your PS5 this generation. Um,
PC Master Race over here.
yeah, so you've been able to access even more games than usual between that and game sharing and a bunch of other stuff, and of course, the flood of Metroidvania games that
Hmm.
seem to keep coming. There's at least one every time you finish one, it seems like, or at least one coming. So what is your opinion on this generation so far?
So it's actually a layered question, eh? There is a shout out to Doc Dark 95 for this one. There is level to this conversation. It first I'm gonna say this generation exposed who is capable of uh, evolving and who is staying behind. And the one studio, or rather publisher, that I'm gonna say that got exposed for staying behind is Square Enix, where everyone have evolved. Square Enix have regressed. Their biggest IP, Final Fantasy, have gone so downhill that they don't even know what they're doing with it. They're throwing everything out the wall and hoping for it to stick. And to make matter worse, their what you call it, quality of life. I can't stress it enough. Putting auto pickup for your chocobo behind beating the game is so fucking insulting on so many levels. It showed me just how out of touch with reality Square Enix developers are.
But by the way, in general, that is one thing that has improved this generation more and more. In general, is the accessibility features, right?
That's what I
Mm-hmm.
was about to talk about. I was
Oh,
about to
sorry,
talk about
Omar.
how
No, agreed.
how where everyone else is improving, Square Enix have been not only left behind but regressed. And it I hope for a change for Square Enix, because as of right now, and especially their Final Fantasy VII Rebirth title, it's literally at the end of the game, it's a mini game fest, and it's padding beyond belief. And don't get me started on uh, the Android 1 and 2. I forgot what his name is. Him
Chatley.
and his sister. Yeah, him and his sister. How obnoxious they became.
Yeah. The threats
Um,
I've seen against that android have been so funny on Twitter. People being like, "Bro, I would pay if Square Enix let me kill him on site."
I was so like you know how excited I was when I was watching the trailers. You know. So to go
Oh
from
yeah,
there to where we are right now was an eye opening for me. Eye opener for me. Another
yeah,
thing,
it was your game of the year. Yeah,
it was my game of the year. Another thing I want to say is, um, shout out to PlayStation for still showing us they still want to create new IPs, invest new IPs. Between Stellar Blade, while it's not a PlayStation IP, they did pick it up at some point. And whatchamacallit, Returnal, my game of the year this generation so far. Um, I'm loving what they're doing with their giving their developers the room to grow and experience. But my biggest issue with PlayStation is this: they did the reversal, while with the PlayStation 4, the first a few years of the generation were atrocious. We had a few hits, like for me at least, Infamous Second Son. That was a great game for me. Um, they started so strong that they started literally with Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, what you call it, Miles Morales, and um, God of War and Horizon. Like Horizon and God of War in the same year. Till today, I believe this was a mistake. They should have, what you call it, delayed one game to the next year, in my opinion.
oh, you
To
know, there would have been pitchforks if they did that.
Yeah, they were in the situation. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because if you delay games, you're gonna lose money. But I'm just speaking. I'm just talking about how it should have been. But that's the best case. That was the best case scenario. They're now stuck in the limbo when it comes to the studios are in development. My biggest issue with PlayStation is connection. Like, we know you're developing them, we know you're cooking, but show us the kitchen. I, and especially it seems that they have showcased that they wanna change their focus now, no more showing us games that's gonna be years to come. I'm like, don't do that. Make us excited about games.
C Fresh would like to point out that Concord is also a new IP. Just like
Yeah,
to point that out for you.
it's a new IP, but which is why I gave him props for it. But doesn't mean that it's not gonna flop. You can make a new IP and still flopping.
Yeah, look at Days Gone.
Um, I hate you. But yeah, Microsoft, we seen their blunder with at first. Oh, there is no need to release a next gen game with a next gen title. Next gen title and with a next gen console. Shout out to Phil Spencer for that gem. And then to put all their eggs in the Hellblade 2 basket, only for it to be one of the worst game I've ever played. Um, again,
Damn.
this generation is layered, dude. It's so messed up because when you look at it at the end of the day, it's an amazing generation. Like between the shout away for saying it, for bringing it up, between the rise of accessibility and the quality of control life improvement, where we now actually seeing developers but also publishers listening to us the gamers. When Stellar Blade started did give us the demo, and we all said auto loot should be included. What happened? We got auto loot pickup, and other developers we've seen them adding more and more accessibility to the point now. I don't know if that was in the past, but there is now an actual award for just accessibility. Who is adding the most accessibility in games? And here is the thing though, don't get it twisted. Accessibility, I'm not focusing on it if it's still making your game easier. That's not it. I'm focusing on it if it's making your experience with the game less messed up because of either an oversight of just developers being out of touch with reality. Nobody wants to shoot at an enemy or be hack and slashing an enemy for 10 minutes because of a large pool, health pool. Like that's not what you call it. That's not talent. That's just you hacking on a belt and trying to evade his attack for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, but that's not fun. So if there is an accessibility that cuts the health bar of the enemy in half, yeah, so be
I'm
it.
not. I'm not sure that that's accessibility.
I mean,
Accessibility features
they
are there for people who otherwise couldn't play those games due to disabilities, right?
Yeah, you're referring to other adjustments, like quality
Yeah, I'm
adjustments.
talking about accessibility would be like, for example, but little more like quality of life improvement, which I have fun with how they changed the setting for a Stellar Blade fishing, because the original one terrible for
Yeah,
me.
that's good accessibility.
That was so terrible. But yeah, going back to the generation, I'm curious because we seen play Xbox roadmap, and yes, they're half a generation behind, but we're finally seeing what they're gonna deliver. And if everything hit, it's gonna be amazing. Like no, we're not gonna uh pretend about that. Now we already know two of PlayStation games. Well, one is already what coming out this year, which two coming out this year for Horizon, Lego, and Astrobot. I'm so excited to see what uh, Death Stranding 2 is gonna be. And Wolverine. Like, PlayStation is gonna fire on all cylinders. Morgan said it. Their studios are gonna go ham, which is frustrate me even more why PlayStation wouldn't be communicating with us gamers. And that is their biggest issue. E3, we saw
So
the
your
death
biggest
of,
issue with PlayStation this generation is lack of communication.
yeah, E3 is, we saw the death of E3 this generation, which in return, what should have been the rise of just update via stream. Like that doesn't cost a lot of time nor money. Come on, you're not you're not reserve, you're not uh, reserving in advance a spot for showcasing your stuff. Now, you're just turning your camera on and showcasing it yourself. Like we all expected that. Like PlayStation, they had a few blunders this generation. Between their lack of absolutely abysmal thinking of not including limited editions of PlayStation covers. What's the point of making your plate so removable, so easy removable, if you're not gonna give us amazing covers? I still can't wrap my head around this one. How they fucked this so bad.
I mean, to be fair, PlayStation,
I mean, they
yeah,
got covers. They have a variety of covers.
Sorry?
It might not be the one I said. They, I mean, they have a variety of different colored
They had
covers and
color. They had
some
colors.
exclusive
There
ones,
was
like the Spider-Man one,
they
and
yeah,
the
but they had
Spider-Man one's
colors.
probably the only one they really
Spider-Man's
pushed.
the only one. Yeah. Where is God of War? Where is The Last of Us? Where's Horizon? Where is Astrobot? Anything like the world was their oyster, and they fucked it up.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
surprised by the lack of
yeah,
innovation in that department, considering it's so
yeah.
easy and
Cause they
the amount of
actually,
talent
let's
they
say
tend to have.
the main
cause
problem isn't the lack of the covers. It's the lack of creativity anyway. The most of the
Yeah,
covers that they do and controls that they do are ugly anyway. So it's just like they need a better department with that because I don't even like the designs they do most of the time anyway. Like the Concord one is ugly. Like I was just like, okay. Like it just seems like they put like a sticker on it. It's just so uninspired. It's so basic. And I'm like, they're charging an extra $20 for it, and it's just like, why?
yeah. I
It's
think,
yeah,
yeah, I think
I'm just not a
Henry, he was
fan of
just saying like
the creative department.
it's just compiling on top of his issues this generation in particular. Consider his saying like how much they pointed out how big of a thing that was, that the plates were removable, like it was going to be this big
Mhm.
thing, and we were going to get, potentially, now you could get a custom, um a custom PS5 without having to buy the whole console again. We were going to get all these
Yeah.
limited release, really dope looking plates with all this cool art on it.
I will
Like,
say
you
if
know,
Xbox does one thing good, it's the customizable controllers and consoles. I wish they would
yeah,
sell them like the
that's what
Deadpool one. I wish they would sell that because I'd buy that
they
immediately.
they're
mhm.
But
lacking.
yeah,
They're lacking is them making it one in what you call it, in winning. You can't buy it. Most of them are not buyable, purchasable.
yeah. I will say I do appreciate that the covers are removable on the PS5 because
Yeah,
a lot of third party sites do sell like a lot of customizable console covers for PlayStation, which is really cool. Like I've seen some really cool themes from like The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, GTA. Like they really make some really dope ones, and the controllers too. Like I got a cool third party controller, so it's just like even though PlayStation themselves aren't doing it, there are a lot of third party companies that do make some cool customizable um covers for your PS5. So PlayStation needs to pick it up though.
Absolutely. So, in your final
but
thoughts, when your final thoughts
yeah,
here,
final thought. Final
what is
thought.
your overall, opinion of it? A 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Like, how are you feeling?
Hmm. Oh, um. Okay. You're gonna hate me for this one. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh,
And
we
here,
already knew you were going to
no,
do that, so it's all right.
hey, no. Here is why. A 5 right now because I am not a fan of a PlayStation roadmap with the games live service. I wanna see where is that gonna take them. Are they gonna backpedal? We see them backpedal. Are they gonna backpedal even further when, not if, but when Concord flops?
So you
And I
essentially
wanna,
want to see the roadmap to see if
yeah,
the
I wanna,
live
yeah,
service
Wait,
initiative,
is that your
yeah.
score? Is that your score for the entire generation?
So
You're
the
basing it on
far,
generation so
PlayStation?
far.
so far,
No, I
yes.
mean
I'm giving it
gaming.
in the
No, no,
middle.
no, no. What I'm asking is gaming as a whole. Like you're just grading PlayStation. I'm talking about the generation, like of all games, third party, PlayStation, PC. Like, how has the ninth gen been for you?
Mm, it's an easy 10, dude. Lady. It's such an easy
Okay, that's. I
10.
mean, that's what the
It,
question was. But
Yeah,
okay,
that's the question
it,
though. Overall,
it,
what is your take on the ninth gen so far?
yeah, it's a 10. Between PlayStation, between Nintendo, between Xbox, um, and its PC, like, I have been gaming up to Wazoo. I have been gaming so much that for the first time in my life, I think I am drowning, and it's not I'm quite confused. I was so fixated on PlayStation.
Yeah, we
But at
know.
the end
I know
of the
that's
day,
why I had to ask because I was like, oh, it seems like you're just grading PlayStation.
because at the end of the day, I was just rating PlayStation. But um, generation wise, it's a 10. It's maybe I'm biased, but it's one of the best generation.
Okay.
And we're not even done with it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the more important thing is that obviously this is just so far, but obviously all the stuff that we've gotten to play and the amount of things we've gotten to play or the amount of things that we want to play that we haven't even gotten to get to shows how much this generation has really given us. Honestly, the list is so long. And I think this is kind of part of the problem. Um, is that so much has come out in such a short amount of time that I think a lot of people have just forgotten
Yeah,
how much has come out.
glanced over it. Like, I forgot to mention Take Two. That was an amazing game.
Oh, It
Oh
Takes
yeah,
Two.
Take Two was great.
Yeah, It
It
Yeah,
Takes
Takes
Two
Take
Two,
was
Two.
great.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, that's something I didn't even have on my list. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
it's hard
They're
to.
supposedly getting ready for the next one, so it's like, oof, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, the list has been so long. But yeah, for me, this generation has been phenomenal. Honestly, it's really, really hard to keep up. Um, Earlier, Henry said 4 out of 5. That's probably about where it is for me. If I was to put it on a 10 scale, it's probably an 8 out of 10. Like honestly, it's just there's so much, and it's not just what I love about this generation personally has been not necessarily the ones that have been criticized, the things people are talking about. Remasters and remakes have been such a controversial thing this generation. But a lot of games have not been available on current generation platforms or modern consoles for people to access have been updated and brought forward. And that's really big for me as a fan of a lot of those games. One I haven't really been able to get into as much as I wanted to. I am almost done with the first one, but I mean this collection is massive. I think it's like 8 or 10 games or something like that. But the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, that coming out for current day platforms was incredible. Like I did not see that happening. So that was just insane for me as someone who grew up with the Game Boy Advance SP, and those were a staple besides the Pokemon games for me. That was also just massive. Again, PlayStation starting it off strong with, like you guys said, Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank, Spider Man, Returnal. Eventually, we got the very, very amazing take on Hogwarts Legacy. Um,
Oh yeah.
You know, you had the Dead Space remake, which a bunch of us played. That we all really enjoyed that. Jedi Survivor, which came out to a lot of fanfare, some issues, but a lot of fanfare, and a lot of people really enjoyed that title. Unicorn Overlord, Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, Chained Echoes, Horizon
Sea
Forbidden
Stars.
West. Yep, Sea of Stars, Eiyuden Chronicles, Gran Turismo 7, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Helldivers 2, more recently Kunitsugami. Uh, you even had Marvel's Midnight Suns, more of a niche title, but again, phenomenal for a lot of people who have played it.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, a huge, huge surprise hit. Guardians of the Galaxy, that was
The remake of Nier.
yeah, the remake for Near Replicant that a lot of people really went crazy over. You had from Nintendo, Tears of the Kingdom, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Earlier, we mentioned Metroid Dread, which was a huge hit as well. Resident Evil 4 did big. Kena Bridge of Spirits, Persona 3 Reload, again, another game being masterfully remade for current generation people to really get a hold of it. It just, honestly, the list just keeps going. Spider-Man 2 absolutely blew my mind. Probably the best opening in a video game ever created. Like, I mean, talk about throwing you right into the action and keeping their foot on the gas. That game was just, if you haven't experienced Spider-Man 2, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where you've been. That game was insane. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Like they said earlier, It Takes Two. Forza Horizon 5. Honestly, Lost Judgment. Like it just, like I said, I was trying to make the list while everybody was talking, but it's like the list is honestly so long when you're looking across all available platforms for amazing games to play. It just shows you how much they've been firing on all cylinders. Recently praised as well, Dragon's Dogma 2, which funny enough had an effect on the original Dragon's Dogma being picked up by a lot of people. So a lot of people actually went back to go play Dark Arisen because they really like Dragon's Dogma 2. But yeah, like I said,
the Lamb.
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb, another indie that kind of came out of nowhere, and a ton of people, loved that game. It was all over my timeline. Like honestly, man, it's just I'm really lost in it. We got Persona 4 Golden re-release for current modern day consoles. That game has been phenomenal. Another update to the Persona series that's been great.
Metaphor on the Rise.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
then
if
of
you
course,
Octopath too.
yeah, I did. That's what I'm saying. Like I didn't even get that. So Octopath 2, which was my prior game of the year, as well as Morgan's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Octopath knocked it out the park. They really upped the
Fantastic.
game when it came to turn-based combat. Honestly, and just an amazing story. I don't know if anybody mentioned anything else as well. Tunic, Wara mentioned.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, Tunic really turned it up for a lot of people. I know a ton of people who really enjoyed Tunic. I got to watch Morgan play a little bit of that. You had Alan Wake 2 as well. That came out, and really blew a lot of people away. Blew a lot of people's graphics cards away too, because that game is tough to run. It started off rough, I'm not gonna lie, but I did still, and I know Xbox dudes blew it way out of proportion, but I still thoroughly enjoyed my time with Starfield. So again, not the biggest hit on the planet, but I really enjoyed my time with Starfield. I'm looking forward to Shattered Space coming from that. Remnant 2, yeah, that's a good one from Henry. Like that's what I'm saying. Like everybody keeps mentioning like good stuff. That's like the list is so big. Like Remnant 2 was like such a surprise for so many people. Like I remember a ton of people who didn't even play Remnant 1 and ended up picking up Remnant 2. Matter of fact, friend of the podcast, Kofi, he picked up Remnant 2, went crazy with it, and even went for the platinum, which was insane because that game is not easy.
He is in love with that game. Shout out to him.
Oh, he mentioned War also mentioned Counter-Strike 2, I forgot that even came out. But yeah, Counter-Strike 2 launched, which was actually really big. If you guys,
Oh yeah. Henry mentioned Death's Door. Oh yeah, I love that game.
yeah, Death's
That
Door.
board is amazing.
Yeah,
I
another
did
really good
finish
indie.
it.
Loved that game. So really good. Recommend that to anybody.
Yeah, there was
Oh,
just so many games. Recently, of course, um, you had Daybreak, from the Legend of Heroes series. That's very long at this point, but it created another entry point for people of the series with Legend of Heroes Daybreak. A lot of people were really enjoying that, and Daybreak Part 2 was already announced as well. So, I mean, a lot of people as well have been enjoying. This has been like the most crossover generation, which I know people hated that, but it's
Mhm.
allowed so many people to experience games they particularly may not have been exposed to or had time to experience from last generation as well. So this has been a game where like the forward compatibility has been like the best it's ever been too. So it's like all those games that were created
To
for
our detriment.
PlayStation 4. Yeah, or detriment because I mean just lack of time to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, as someone like you who just got into turn-based, another one on the docket for you is obviously going to be the Legend of Hero series at some point. Trails of Cold Steel
Hmm.
and stuff is huge though, right? It's a
if
massive
they
undertaking.
remake it, if they remake Trade of Sky, which we're hearing about, that's gonna be her entry point. Entry point.
Yeah, so they're supposedly remaking the original for that, bringing that forward because it's currently trapped only on PC, and older systems. So, like, I mean, there's just so much that's happening, and from a preservation standpoint, bringing a bunch of these titles forward. Um, you know, uh, Whether it's bringing the titles forward or the new games to come, obviously this fall is packed and it's still not done being packed. We still have games with TBA announcements for 2024, like Plucky
Mhm.
Squire.
Man.
Um,
Where is Plucky Squire, man?
Oh yeah,
Where is Devil? Where is Little
I
Devil
was about
Inside?
to say it. Yeah,
Okay, PlayStation, bro, y'all playing with me. Look, I know it's not your game, okay, but y'all had a whole dedicated state of play for this indie,
Mhm.
and I know they had to like go back and fix some stuff because there was some kind of like racial something like that was like some design they did that caused some kind of confrontation. But it's just like, can we get something? Like I think they put out a link to like a video like 2 months ago of some gameplay, and that's like it. They didn't say a date. They didn't say anything else. They just showed like a little 5 minute snippet of gameplay and then just disappeared again. So I'm just like, is the game still in the works? Like, was it
yeah.
canceled? Are we ever going to get it? Like, is this another abandoned situation where we see something and then we never hear about the game
Mm,
again?
I don't think so. Apparently
Did
they
they
quit.
even say
They
anything
they
from
quit.
abandoned?
Exactly.
They
That's what I'm saying. Or they don't say anything. They just like, oh well, okay. Like we never hear anything
Yeah, but
ever.
but say
I
and
think
see. I don't think we saw anything from abandoned.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we
Yeah.
got that. We got
yeah.
that little. Remember, we got the little
I think
in game little
okay,
little
so
app.
if you had to choose between two games that are doing worse, which one? Lost Soul or the game that you're excited about?
Little Devil Inside.
I wouldn't know
Yeah,
because I don't know. I'm not paying attention to
I'm gonna
Lost Souls, so
say
I don't really know.
I'm gonna say Little
I'm gonna
Devil
say Lost
Inside
Soul.
because I just saw brand new footage of Lost Soul Aside. So
Yeah, but
Mhm.
that's the thing though. All we have been seeing is
you
footage,
say wait,
and this,
you say that, but if you actually look at the most recent footage, it is massively updated. Like there were skills and new things added that were never in the game before. So
yeah,
we've
new
seen
weapon
a
and new
massive
bugs.
evolution in that game.
Yeah,
So the
it sounds
reason
like
it's
it's
been
still
taking,
alive.
yeah, it's well alive.
I was like, I don't know the status of Little Devil Inside. For all I know, they canceled it. Like they haven't said
Mhm.
anything. Like I don't know what the hell's going on with that game. So it's just like
And
I
that
would like
might be
some
good,
type of update.
and that might be good issue with PlayStation not
We
being connected with
we
not
also
being.
yeah, we also have no release date yet for Dragon Age.
Ah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
I thought it's coming this year.
No, it does
Yeah, it's
say this
coming
year,
this year,
but no
but no
solid
date.
release. Yeah, they haven't actually given the date.
There's
But
a
yeah,
particular console that supposedly has games coming out this year that have yet to put out any release dates. I'm not going to say which console that is, but they're talking about PlayStation lacking games. But I mean, PlayStation has a date for the game they're coming out that's coming out later this year. So I mean, that's all I got to say.
yeah,
And it's
it's
September, so
honestly, man. Like I had a contact from a friend. If this generation tells you anything, I had a contact from an old friend um, the other day, and they randomly texted me because they saw me playing Kunitsugami, and they were asking me about it and what I thought about the game, and they basically were like, "I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm interested in that game, and I'm interested in this game, and all these games coming up," and they were like, "But I could probably not buy games for the rest of my life." And still probably not complete all the games I got.
And still be set, huh? There's so many games that have come out. I
Yeah.
mean, it became so bad. We stopped buying games.
Yeah, I mean
We had to
that's
focus on
this is
on
the
it. But
first generation where I've literally had to skip games that I wanted to play because regardless of having the money, like Morgan said, I factually knew it would literally just sit there and just it would be a waste of money because we just
which
I
is
don't have the time.
which is crazy.
Nope, it's been a phenomenal
'Cause
generation.
we're not some people that play one game or two in a month or something like that. Like we gamers.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the moral of the story, I think, if you gather anything from the discussion that we've had right here from a bunch of people who play a bunch of different games, we all play a huge variety of games, including the chat. The chat, obviously they're thriving too, talking about all the games that they've got to play and experience for the first time or, new IPs that really just stood out.
Yeah,
Like It
that's
Takes
gonna
Two
be
is that
my first time playing Death Rising. Yeah,
you really need to expand your palette when it comes to
yeah. I was
gaming.
about to say that if there is one thing that you should take away from this one, broaden your horizon.
Yeah, yeah. So too many people definitely way too narrow, not experiencing a lot of different games, and it's really limiting them, and it shows, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, gaming's been great. Like I said, 8 out of 10 for me so far. I think once I've solidified, if we finally get the big roadmap, the one we're used to from PlayStation, and they give me that knock it out the park, uh, you know, showcase that I'm expecting from them, plus all the games that are supposed to be releasing this fall and this winter release. Uh, yeah, I mean, I see gaming this generation easily shooting to a 10 out of 10 for me. They said we're 8 out of 10 right now. It's a strong 8 out of 10. It's an amazing 8 out of 10. And I think it could easily end the generation as being one of my favorites in a long time. Like I said, the PS1 generation is hard to top for me because of a lot of games from that era that started during that era. But this is getting damn close to being one of the most impressive generations of all time. Oh yeah, and to the question, I almost forgot the question that Wara had asked originally about what do I think the Switch will be named. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Weeb and stuff. I think they're gonna plainly name it the Switch 2, but I personally prefer the Super Nintendo Switch. I think that sounds cooler. It speaks back to their heritage. But I don't think Nintendo's gonna do that.
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna name it, but I do believe they're gonna keep Switch in it, whether it's Switch 2 or Super Nintendo Switch.
This year or
I,
next
I
year?
oh, I don't know when it's coming out. I'm just talking about the name of the
Mm-hmm.
next
Yeah,
Nintendo console.
yeah. I think it's
I
important
do
to
think
keep
they're gonna
Switch
keep.
in it.
Yeah, I think just with the success of Switch and the love that it's received from everybody else, even people who aren't, mainstream gamers, I just think it would be smart for Nintendo to keep, the name Switch in the naming scheme for their next console.
Um, I like I said, 100% agreed on that. To one more question that Wara had, we kind of had an internal discussion about that when it happened. Wara, the whole thing with Flintlock and them removing the trophies when you play on easy. Um, I personally explained. I'll give my point quickly, and you can grab it from everybody else as well. But I said that it was just that sets a bad precedent. You should never do that. If they felt that strongly, personally, about the easy difficulty, they should have either adjusted it so that they can make sure they do include the trophies, um, or just remove the mode. Like, to me, that's unacceptable. Removing the trophies, that's not how trophies work. The entirety of trophies for your game based on a difficulty are not the case. If you felt that strongly about the difficulty people played on, you could have added a trophy that was particular to beating the game on normal and also hard, if you really wanted to do something like that. But removing it from people playing your game just because of the difficulty they chose
Oh,
is ridiculous. That should never
oh,
happen, ever. Like, that sets a
l-
terrible precedent.
wait, read what I wanna saying. Easy had an infinite health mode for accessibility.
I mean, but you didn't hear what I said though. So even if
I
that's the
did hear.
case, even if no, but wait, I said even if that's the case, I said they should have either removed the mode or they should have adjusted it to the point where they felt they could allow people to still earn the trophies.
But question though, if you are about with the irony, it's literally on the screen right now. If you're about to start Flintlock and it said in big letters, easy mode doesn't allow you to get any trophies or what you call it. Should you not then decide by yourself? Do I want to go easy mode and not get the
You,
trophies,
but you
or
miss
go?
you. Yeah, you
I
missed the
think it
point.
actually does say that,
It
by
does
the
say
way.
It
that.
yeah no, it does say that. This is why I say it's pointless to either remove it or stuff like that because at the end of the day, it's your choice.
Yeah, but that's what I said. I don't want a choice. There is no mode in a game that should disable the trophies unless you are cheating or modding the game. Period.
I mean, that's also like arguing like the what we told you, Omar, that it was your choice to continuously go back and get bullets, but you were like, I don't like that though. This should be there anyway. Like,
Exactly.
like it is like it shouldn't be like why is easy mode there if there's a punishment for it though? Like that doesn't make
I
sense.
think, and this is just me. I have the feeling they turned easy mode trophies off because they didn't want you to switch from normal to easy
I mean, if
mid
they wanted
game.
to, there is ways to do
But you
that.
can,
They have locks
but
in games now where you can that say all the
Yeah,
time, like
they
once you
should
click a
have just
mode, you
made it.
can't switch.
Yeah, they should have just made it so that you can switch between difficulty mid game, and
Yeah,
that's
he also stated that the infinite health thing was just happened to be an option on the easy mode. You didn't actually have to use it. So again, if they felt adding that as an option was uh, a hindrance and didn't deserve the trophies, then they shouldn't have added it. That's my issue. Like I said,
Yeah.
that never you never want to start. I know what you're thinking from a personal perspective, but like this is a business level decision, right? You do
yeah.
not want to compromise. This is like I know you haven't shopped for one, but this is like when you're shopping for a car and the base model versus the rest of them and all the things you're missing in a car. There's always the joke about all these and if you've ever seen it, anybody who's been in a car has seen the blank areas in a car that doesn't have all the options because there's a button that's supposed to go there, but they just block it off because the car doesn't have the option. Like that's kind of where we're at. But those are true options, right? Like you can drive a car without heated seats, right? But something that is supposed to be universal, like trophy earning in a game, should not be disabled. Again, like I said, with the exception of blatant cheats. If you're pressing, up, down, left, right, A, B, or whatever, and activating cheats, then I completely understand why they disable stuff. But yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's and I think so. Here's the thing: they wanted their game to mean something, with it being quote unquote difficult, but at the same time they wanted people to have a what you call it, presentation trophy. It sucks because
I mean, they didn't want people to have a participation trophy.
well, I mean, they just want them to finish the
Literally.
game,
Yeah.
which is why
Like
they
they
give
literally
them
took the participation trophy out.
I mean, finishing the game, which is why they have the infinite health
I said,
grid.
if they wanted to discern between levels, they could have just put here's a trophy for beating it on hard mode, here's a trophy for beating it on normal mode, and here's a trophy for beating it on easy mode. Like, why take all the trophies away from easy mode? Like, it's a punishment. Like, okay, we gave this as an option, but if you pick it, you don't get any trophies. Like, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I have the feeling they're gonna backtrack on this one. If not, they're gonna take a big L with this one.
I mean, I'm sure it'll come out in an update. That they'll add those trophies later. I just don't even know why that was a decision in the first place. Like, yeah, let's make it easy mode, but let's also like punish people for choosing the easy mode. Like, if you don't want it, just seems like you didn't want people to play easy mode. And if that's the case, why'd you put it? Because it just seems like they're upset. Like, this is like them being upset that you chose easy mode. So if that's the case,
Exactly.
why even put that mode as an option? Just put normal and hard like Stellar Blade did, and don't even bother with the easy mode.
It was a big oversight on their end.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, I'm laughing at the chat. They all agree with my car analogy. They said they do not have heated seats in their vehicle. but but yeah, like I said, like Morgan said as well, same thing. They could have just added the difficulty. Again, the reason why I say that is just because it starts to get messy. Like, trophies are one of the things that needs to be very, very universal, right? You don't want a bunch of people disabling trophy. Then you don't want to set the precedent, and then a bunch of people start disabling trophies for a bunch of weird reasons. If you don't backflip at least 100 times in this playthrough, all trophies are not earned or something. Like, I don't know. I know that sounds stupid, but companies do the dumbest stuff. We all have to deal with, companies, once, like they say, the saying, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So, I mean, we know how setting a bad or potentially bad precedent can really turn into something wild that you never foresaw. And that's where it gets a little scary.
That's the reality, yeah?
Yeah, essentially. But, yeah, if that answers your question there, War, it sounds like, I mean, he said he agreed with what I said, what Morgan said, and so on and so forth. So, to the next topic, the main thing that was a bigger topic that Karaba wanted to cover specifically, the Dragon Quest creator, Yuji Horii, says, with graphics becoming more realistic, the silent protagonists in JRPGs can't pull it off anymore. Currently, I think pretty much everybody, including the chat, has played a game with a silent protagonist of some sort, right? It's not just prevalent in JRPGs, but he's specifically speaking from that standpoint. Weeb, obviously someone who's played a lot of these types of games as well. Do you feel that that's really the case? Do you agree with Yuji's statement that you agree that the silent protagonist doesn't work anymore?
Absolutely not. Fucking bullshit.
Fuck you. We're
Oh,
gonna go.
fuck you.
We're gonna be at war. Go ahead.
I mean, why not? Like, what does do graphics and current game development have anything to do with the silent protagonist? Like, the thing is, what do you think he said? Like, it would look silly or something, or ridiculous or whatever. Like, okay, how does a talking protagonist who sounds like an idiot look any better, right? I mean, that's all up how you develop the game, how you design the game. It can totally work, and I know some people have also put a forth argument. Okay, but what if the protagonist is actually deliberately, mute because they're actually mute because they're mute or deaf or whatever. Which, yeah, sure, would be a legitimate reason to have a character not talking, but that's still that's basically a cop out because the point is like you have uh, Apple examples, like for example, Link of the Legend of Zelda, and that's kind of like if they had a because the Zelda games have voice acting now, right? The most recent games
Mm-hmm.
have voice acting. But if Link suddenly start talking, um, in to me in the classic Zelda games, like it would be weird. Like and the thing is, like they often make a point of that because you also don't really have dialogue choices, right? You don't. It's not that your character is it's only character without voice acting. It's just your character doesn't really talk, and that's kind of the point of and it's a trope but one that just is expected and it works. And look, if you want to have a character that talks, that's absolutely fine. I mean, there's nothing better or worse having a silent protagonist or not, but there's a place for that. There are games that we grew up with, the games that like again we've had like a very talkative Link in the Saturday morning cartoons. Excuse me, princess. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Is that how you want Link to sound like? I'd say he's better off that we leave him as a silent protagonist. I mean, uh, like I said, I think it's a bullshit argument. Like there's nothing inherently on you can make the game as realistic as you want, with full motion voice acting and mocap or whatever. If you want to have a silent protagonist, you can. This is kind of the problem is that statement is sort of yes, games can look more realistic than ever, right? But on the other hand, like not all games need to look like that. Not all games have to, approximate reality, if there's such a thing. Let games be games. Like games can have gamey mechanics, can have gamey story choices or game design. Like it's weird that we somehow shouldn't be able to do that because like is that the part that looks silly to you, like so all the other things that characters that you're in that where you shooting enemies and then suddenly have platform elements, that's not silly. Like if you look at that from a third person, doesn't it look silly, somebody jumping in midair or something like that? Like I mean we are or all the pickups in games, like it's kind of dumb that we have to focus on that everything has to be super realistic. And I look at now, maybe I'm being a bit uh, uh, um, I guess extreme in a sense because obviously he's focusing on that one particular part about the silent protagonist, but like it's by the same. I would shelf that in the same filing cabinet as a statement that we can't have turn-based games anymore because people expect action RPGs, right?
Facts. Final Fantasy 16 ass.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Look at how that turned out. Which, by the way, I still think it's a fine game, but it's not. it's not it's ridiculous to call this an RPG, and it hasn't improved. In fact, it has detracted from it. But that's a different discussion. But point being, yeah, it's just another developer feeling the need for some reason to make a statement. And look, they're entirely their opinion. And obviously, if they don't want to have a silent protagonist anymore because they personally think it looks dumb, then that's fine. That's up to them. But
Mm-hmm.
don't expect me to agree with that, because I'm perfectly fine with having silent protagonists in games, because I find them adorable. Like there's so many things that like a game like my favorite game of all time, Terra Enigma, has a silent protagonist, and there are so many fun things they do with the fact that they're actually, like, when the game is aware of it, right? That they're not pretending that there's no, let's say, gameplay limitation or game limitation of it, that okay, yeah, we couldn't do that because of memory or whatever, like, or pretending that the character doesn't isn't silent. Like, no, they're actually making a point of that, and by extension, you have far more expressive ways that a character can express himself, like with facial animations, if that was a thing, but with expressions that they show on their face, gestures and things like that, and it makes these characters so much more fun to watch and play than if they were just saying everything out loud, right? And having a dumb voice actor, or I mean, the voice actors are fine, but it's generally just the way dialogues are written, that they come across, and they're directed, that they come across as idiots, like yeah. So short story, or in summary, basically, I don't agree with the statement at all.
No, 100%. Yeah, I personally definitely do not agree with that. I've played some phenomenal games with silent protagonists. I do understand that certain types of games that you play, it may sound weird. Like Hero said, for him, when he thinks about it, it's immersion breaking. But again, I get it. That completely depends on the type of games that you've played and so on and so forth. Because there's some games for sure where I'm like, it would be weird if they were silent. But do I think it's weird entirely to have a silent protagonist? No, because uh, you don't speak, verbally, at least. I mean, you talk, and the words are, come out or whatever, but like you don't, he doesn't actually have any sound in Persona 5 Royale or whatever. So,
God, I'm gonna say that, Tony. Jeez.
yeah, I know. I'm calling on you now. But no, I
Yeah,
agree,
no,
but I
yeah,
agree with
after you
you.
say it. Okay.
I know, that's
No,
my
no, it's
fault.
fine. Just
I know.
take my
Take
lines.
it,
It's all good.
just
It's all
take it,
good.
just take it. No, but
Jeez. Okay.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. Go ahead, Morgan. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, like Nate already decided to say, um, yeah, there's many games that have silent protagonists that I think are fantastic. And as someone who is just recently getting into, JRPGs and stuff, I was more of a, Western RPG slash, action adventure, Western game kind of player. And, the majority of those games, the protagonist is not silent, they have their lines, they voice them sometimes too over enthusiastically that it comes off
Mhm.
awkward. But, it's a staple in, especially in Western games, for your main protagonist to not be silent. But like I said, I've been recently playing a lot of JRPGs, and I have absolutely no issue with the silent protagonist. Like Nate said, Persona 5, um, it's definitely like one of the top games that I played in a while. And while you do pick dialogue act, um, you know, uh, options for your character, the character itself is not voiced. Every other character has voice acting and talks, but your character does not. And that has never once like made me feel weird or deterred me from the story or distracted me or was like immersion breaking or like it didn't feel out of place. Like it felt right, you know? And like we pointed out, Link for the most part is silent in most of his games. Like, and that was a game of the year game, one game of the year, and then the next time that the sequel came out, it was a game of the year contender, right? And that year was that the year that it lost was from a game with another silent protagonist, which was Elden Ring, right? Your your character doesn't really speak like that, you know. It you're just playing in the world and you have this character and it doesn't bother anybody at that point, right? Like I don't see anybody talking about like, bro, I wish my character spoke all the time. Like that's never an issue. My thing is you just have to make sure you have like the world and the characters in it supporting the game, enough so that your the protagonist that you're playing, the fact that they're not talking isn't hindering the game, right? Like if you have a good enough story or like the world itself is the narrative and carrying the narrative, nobody's gonna be bothered by the fact that the protagonist doesn't talk. There's many ways you can do it. There's many games that do it well and have been very successful and thrived, right, for the protagonist not speaking. So I like again, I don't I get what he's trying to say. Like, yes, it's harder. You're gonna have to do a lot more work on the back end to make sure your story is good, that the gameplay is good, and the supporting cast help to carry the game. But it's not impossible, and I don't think it's something that you know developers need to move away from, or like we've said, where we heard the words that people don't like turn based, so we went to do a more action game to kind of attract a bigger audience, and then turn around and everybody's excited for Expedition 33, a turn based game. Why? Because they're doing something different, innovative. It looks good. You can tell they put a lot of work and a lot of quality into it. So again, as long as you're passionate about what you're doing and you put that passion into fruition and the game looks enticing, right? I don't think a silent protagonist or anything that you choose to do in a game will come off as weird. It's just about how you do it, right? It's about the quality of work that you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So I don't know what's going on with Japanese developers lately where they feel like, oh man, we got to move from what we usually, the staple of the way we do things, and we got to change our entire playbook to cater to the mass audience who didn't give a crap about us anyway. So yeah, we gotta change for them. Like you changing isn't gonna attract the people who weren't interested anyway. So just focus on what you do. You can always tweak it and make it, better and you know, innovate in what you do, but that doesn't mean you have to completely erase everything and just pull a 180 and just be like, okay, we're gonna scrap that. We're gonna do something entirely different because that's what we think is going to attract people to our game. Like just follow your vision, and if your vision includes a silent protagonist, then let it include a silent protagonist. Like,
Agreed.
I mean, I never heard anybody saying anything overly negative about Dragon Quest, and these remakes are coming out, but it's been out for years. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about Dragon Quest because it had a silent protagonist. Like, I don't remember hearing that because he's also the director, or he's going to be the creative director for Metaphor, right? So I'm just like,
Is he?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
just like,
Do we know if
yeah.
Metaphor main character is gonna? I think it's gonna be voiced, right?
I don't think we've seen
I,
whether or
I,
not he will.
it's yeah. It looks like it's just going down the same kind of route with Persona,
Yeah, it looks like
like
Persona again.
Oh fuck
to
me!
get dialogue options. But wait, hold up.
Fuck.
You got a problem with that, Omar?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Okay,
I'm
you know
gonna
what?
have
Let
you
me pass
finish.
the
I'm
baton.
gonna
No,
have
go
you
ahead.
finish.
I'm gonna pass the baton to Omar because I really am curious about what his issue is with this. Go ahead, Omar.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear
No,
it.
I'm gonna have you finish.
She done.
I'm done. Go ahead.
She done.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, if you're done. First of all, I'm not doing this to throw a dig at you, but I was gonna mention Dragon Quest as one of the worst offender of this.
Fuck
Between
you.
that and Dragon Quest Builders, which I love, I just hated that my character is not speaking.
He said
Like
he loved it, but he hated the character. Okay, you know what? Never mind.
I can't like I don't skip games because they don't have something that I like. Like that's not it. My issue have always been with silent protagonists, they don't bring out emotions.
Oh, fuck you, Omar.
Fuck you too. There is a fuck you too. There is a reason why anime is beloved. Sub. Sit down.
Manga's
Um
better.
Wait,
and
ew, this man.
also another reason why in some moment beloved dub, aka Dragon Ball. So yeah, voice acting is super important for me.
Omar,
Yeah, yeah.
you're confusing two
Omar,
things. Silent protagonist is not the same as voice acting. Because you can have a game that has no voice acting and
Yeah,
doesn't have a silent protagonist.
Yeah,
A
that's
silent
true.
protagonist is a protagonist that doesn't talk, while other characters in the
yeah,
game
like
do talk.
other characters can talk. It's just the protagonist doesn't. I think you're
yeah.
confusing.
No, I played
Well, you
Persona
said
5.
you need voice acting. You say you need
Sorry?
voice acting, and there's voice acting in those games.
No, in Persona 5,
There's voice
uh,
acting in Persona 5.
Joker is not talking.
He's the only one not talking.
Yeah, but
Don't choke. Don't choke. Calm down.
oh, sorry, boss. Sorry. My point is, when you think about
That
Tidus,
was fine,
or
Omar show.
when you think about Tidus, or even Final Fantasy 16, as much as I'm not a fan of, uh, um, as much as I'm not a fan of the game 16, the voice acting was phenomenal.
So
And
wait.
still,
So
it is
Maybe,
yeah.
Okay,
maybe
So
it's
okay,
just,
okay.
maybe it's just,
Hold on. I think you're confusing them saying that voice acting is unnecessary. That's not what we're saying. We're
no,
saying that
you guys are saying that silent protagonists a la Octopath Traveler, for example, they can pull it off. Which I've always said I want voice acting in my game. Like the game that I'm playing right now, Hinterberg, amazing game. I just wish it had voice acting.
yeah,
And
but
my
that's the thing. You said it's an amazing game. I don't think if a game's great, why does it need voice acting though? Like if
because
you're
it
enjoying every other aspect of it,
be-
what's the necessity of voice acting?
because it brings out the most amazing moment for me. As when I remember a game, I remember it when it's
See,
voiced.
but games like Persona, Octopath though, but they're fantastic and they were my game of the year. It wasn't a necessary thing. Like the story itself, the characters, the world, the narrative,
Yeah, but
like
I
those were
always
all hitting on
I
high
always
cylinders. It was unnecessary.
I
Like,
always felt Joker flat and boring. He can he can think what he wants
but
to
see,
think,
but the thing
but
is though, that to me, Joker is just a tool for the story. Like he's like the story is so much bigger than Joker. Like it's not like he's not even what I think about when I think about Persona 5 though. Like I think he's just a conduit to tell the story that is Persona 5. Like I don't even look at him like, oh man, I wish Joker was this or that. It's just when I think about
yeah,
Persona
but
5, I think about the castles and the enemies and your personas. Like I don't really like the Joker being not being voice actor or being voice acted doesn't really come to my
okay.
mind when I think about Persona.
In my opinion, every single character in Persona 5 outshine Joker.
oh hell no.
Hell yes!
That's a very interesting take.
Especially considering when we asked this man who he would be in Persona, he said Joker, and we all know how Omar
Joker,
picks
bro.
characters.
I love his character
So,
as a
oh,
character, which
Joker,
is
bro.
why I said I wish that he was voiced.
so you
Again,
love
I
the
said
character, but you
I
think
love the
everybody outshines him, but that's who you
yeah,
think you would be. Like,
they
That
outshine
says a
him
lot
in
about
the
you.
look. Let me explain how they outshine him in the sense of when they have a character development, you read it, you hear it, you hear how they go from who they were, who they are, from a shy person to a confident person. But with
But
Joker, it's just mute.
no,
It's
no, no, no,
just
no, no, no. See, you're not. Why is the only context that you see growth is through verbal like talk, like through him talking? You see Joker's growth through the actions that you're taking. His courage going up, his confidence going up, his strength going up, his the relationships that he makes
yes.
with the other characters. You don't need him to talk to see
That,
his
but that's
growth. You can
your,
see
but
his growth as you're playing the game.
that's the
agreed.
difference between
That's
you
your
and me.
that
Well,
seems like you that yeah, that seems like you lack a ability to be able to discern
You
growth
can't. I was
if
gonna
it's not
say
being
he can't
thrown at you.
discern it without that thing. So
Yeah,
that
it seems
sounds
like
like
you
something
just
you're
can't pick it up.
missing.
It sounds like a
yes,
you issue
that's
though.
why, but that's why I said it's for me. When I talk
Omar,
about
that's
something,
not a
it's
good
about
thing,
my
Omar. You
opinion.
gotta fix that. You gotta fix that. That's not good. Okay?
How
That's
is
So
you
it?
so
lacking an
wait.
ability.
But you
That's you
never.
lacking an
But hold
ability
up,
to
you
discern
never.
based because you need it literally thrown in your face in order for you to
But
see it.
here is where it become not good. If I am actively not playing a game because the main character is mute, then absolutely not good. But if I'm just asking for a voice main character, that's my opinion.
Oh, it's your
And
opinion, but it's wrong. It's
at
fine.
the end of the
It's
day, it's
wrong,
just
but
to me a main character that speaks brings way more gravitas to it than a mute main
but
character.
I can name like a bunch of characters who speak who are worse characters than Joker though.
Yes, this
Speaking doesn't make you automatically a better character.
yes, your writing can be amazing. You absolutely can be. But what brings it to the next level is adding voice to it. There is a little reason voice acting, what you call it, voice actor of the year exists.
Okay. So
There is a little reason.
you're
There is a
confusing two
little.
things. So no one. Okay, so you're arguing what you like about voice acting, but it's not. You're not necessary. You're not even really necessarily saying the only reason you're saying it's needed is because you can't interpret based on what you're saying. You cannot interpret or feel that you feel anything if it's not voice acted.
Yeah, I can feel invested in the main character if he is not voice acted, which is why Dragon Quest, I think 9 or 10 was such a terrible experience for me.
Okay, so I
Was Elden Ring
yeah,
a terrible experience for you?
Sorry,
good.
Was Elden Ring a terrible experience for you?
I haven't played um Elden Ring, but
No, Mr. Souls doesn't play Elden Ring. Oh, that's crazy.
I played the Soul game, but the Soul game I have no idea what the story is about.
No. It ain't about the story. We talking about silent protagonists.
Yeah,
You
because
said you
he's
have an
silent.
issue with it. Do you have an issue with it in Souls games?
No, Soul game, no. Because he didn't talk.
Oh, oh,
But
okay.
he talk, it would have been it would have been way better to add voice. But that's the thing,
No,
though.
no,
I
no,
enjoy
nah, nah.
voice acting.
That's not what we said. That's not what we said. You said you can't get into a game and you have issue if there's no voice acting. And then I asked you,
Yeah,
do you
but
have
my
issue
main
with it in
character.
Souls? And you said no.
No, I don't. You know why?
Why, Omar? Tell us why.
Because I'm creating a main character. I don't. No, it's not like I don't feel. How do I say this? I would rather the main character be a thing, something that exists then something that you need to create your own, which is why what's his name? I forgot his character in Sekiro.
Okay, what
Uh,
about him?
Um, that I feel had way more emotional impact on the story than someone like a dummy in Dark Souls.
Yes, you're talking about created characters versus an established
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
But
So to me, and that again, my thing, in a game like Elden Ring, I
Mhm.
don't talk to a lot of character most of the time. Well, I mean, besides the NPC, but that's about it. But with JRPGs, especially JRPGs, especially when you're
Mhm.
on the road, like your banter with your with with your main cast, that's what brings your
How
character
do
to
you
life.
how do
Which
you
is
feel
why
about
when yeah,
characters who how do you feel about characters who aren't voiced but have dialogue? Like you have to read their dialogue. Like it's like do you need it to be voiced or you don't or you just talking about if they don't say anything at all? Like if it's just dialogue that's read, there's no voice acting, is that a problem for you?
are you talking if everyone is white but your main character, or if
No.
no voice
No.
acting whatsoever?
Either or. If it's
Okay,
no
no
voice
voice
acting
acting,
whatsoever and it's just
no voice.
read.
Okay, no voice acting whatsoever. I really wish there was a voice acting. Like for example, I'm playing right now Hinterberg. Great game. But I don't know what the main character sounds like. Yes, she can be righteous, she can be angry, but at the end of the day, she's
I
just
mean,
there. She is either agreeing or disagreeing with
I
someone.
see. I like that because that allows you to interpret it how you want, put a voice to it that
And that
you
I'm
think.
not and
Um,
that yeah, and that's where
let me
I'm not.
ask. You used to when you read, do you imagine a world in your head, or
he
do you have
doesn't
problems?
read. He doesn't read. That's that. I
Okay,
was about to tell you
I
that's.
think
No,
that
I was
wait,
about to
I
tell
do
you
read.
that's where the
that's
problem
the issue.
is.
Wait, hold up. I don't read?
Read what? What have you read this past year? Name it.
What do you mean?
What
I
book have
One
played
you
Piece.
read?
One Piece.
I
What
wait,
do you mean?
I read subtitles and I read
Yeah,
every game I played.
Yeah,
exactly,
Are you
motherfucker.
talking?
subtitles.
Wait, are you talking about
We're talking about
actual
books,
reading?
man.
Yes,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Actual
Yes. When we
reading.
Hold
said,
up,
"What did you
hold up,
read?" What
hold
did you
up,
read?
hold up. How the fuck did we go to books? I
But
thought we
no,
were
no,
Look,
talking
because
about
you'll
books.
understand
you're
what I'm
missing
trying
the
to say.
issue.
Oh, I was so
You'll
confused.
understand what I'm trying.
I was so
Yeah, you'll understand
confused.
what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
no.
say when I make the connection. Have you read anything this year? And when you read books, do you imagine worlds in your mind, or you don't?
So, I used to read books. Not, no,
Okay.
Back in
no,
2008.
yeah, no, like no cap. Back when I used to travel literally 3 hours from my house to my school, 1.5.
Okay. And how do you read is my point. How do
I
you read?
read.
Like
So
when
I read books like Harry Potter, for example,
no
and
no 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 no. I didn't say, no,
yeah, that's
I
what.
didn't say what did you read. I said, how do you read? Like when you read, do you imagine the characters in your mind, or do you just read a page and you don't see anything?
I read and I imagine the character in my mind. I imagine how they would be voice act, which is
So if you can do that, why is it so hard for you to do that when you play video games?
because unlike what you call it, and now that um ebooks exist, I wished I had ebooks in the heyday. If I had to choose between the ability to have ebooks or books, I would have
Okay, but
chosen
with
for
ebooks,
ebooks.
you don't have visuals. You just have audio.
Sorry.
No, ebooks.
I say, okay, but
Ebooks
with
are just or
Yeah.
just electronic books. Not he's not
Oh,
talking about
sorry,
audiobooks.
audiobook. Sorry
You
about
meant
that. Audiobook.
audiobooks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about
Yeah,
that.
that's why I
Audiobook.
was, yeah. I was like, with that, you don't have any visuals, you just have audio.
Yeah, no, I don't have visuals. I have audio, but I at least can hear the emotion in certain characters. When the person is
See that right there, that's where you and I differ, because I prefer
yeah, and that's
the
okay.
way I interpret characters on my own. Like I like the voices that I make up for them and the emotions that I give, the visuals that I give them. I prefer that over someone telling me what they should sound like, or how they said something in a particular line, or what the setting looked like. Like I like visualizing that myself and hearing that, like putting that, those emotions and everything for myself. And I think that's what is going on with games. Like you need them to give you a voice because that's just, I guess it's just how you interpret it. But I don't think that makes a game less fun. And I think that's where we're differing.
And that's where
You
we
seem to say
differ. Like I
you
would
seem
have
to think that
I
it's
would
not as good because it doesn't have voice acting.
I
And I don't agree with that.
I enjoy it less, but I'm not gonna, quit the game because it doesn't have voice acting. I'm gonna wish for it having voice acting, and if it's an indie,
Yeah,
it's
but see, but then
understandable.
that right there, see, that's my point. Because see, it doesn't seem like that's a deal breaker for you, though. Because the way
No,
you're arguing it, you
no,
make it
no,
seem like it's a deal breaker. You
no,
like,
absolutely
oh,
not.
I need it.
No, I need it, but I'm not gonna,
That's my
uh,
point. It seemed like you don't need it that much because you can
well,
tolerate it.
I mean, yeah, I can tolerate. Yeah, precisely. I can tolerate it. I'm gonna always think about how it would have been if it was voice act, but I'm gonna still
Let
enjoy
me
my
Omar,
game.
I swear,
Uh,
you have like 98 pet peeves with every game you play, sir. Like
Yeah,
if it doesn't have this, and this, but it has this, but I wanted it
this
this
is
way,
why I
and
would.
it came like this,
So
but it
here's
didn't
the
come like
thing.
this.
I, I,
Omar will tell you
okay, I have a
immediately. Like,
question. Would you rather I be
yes,
that or skip games that don't appeal
no,
to me?
you ain't gotta skip the game. But I'm saying the thing that I was pointing out, right, with Omar would not describe it this way, but this is why he says he needs it so much. It's the same thing why I told you why me and Weeb like to read manhwa and some of the other stuff that we
hmm
read.
And I love
And
watching anime. I
no, I
can't
love what
handle
don't
novel
hold
that
on,
much.
I ain't done. I love watching anime too, motherfuckers. So hold on. And I get that. And they do convey emotion and a lot of things through the voice. It's not, but for me, it's not either or. They are both great and they are both amazing. See, you can't say that because you don't read it. So you can't agree nor disagree. So,
For
having
me, I
read
can
both,
absolutely.
no,
Fuck
you have not.
you.
And I ain't nigga
Why
reading
nigga? Hold
reading like
up.
5 mangas in
Hold
your
up.
whole life
Okay,
does not
hold up,
count.
hold up, hold up,
We're not
hold up.
doing that.
If you want to say what I read One Piece every
Like
chapter.
I
Every
said,
week.
reading 5 manga in your whole life does not count. So anyway, like I said, he needs it.
It still does not.
The
If
only
you
reason you
were
read
to be
One
fair though,
Piece,
you're like a One Piece little super fan though. That's the only reason you
exactly.
read it.
yeah,
That's why he
but
read that shit,
that,
cause he can't
but
wait.
that, but
And because
that,
he's impatient and he wants to know what's gonna happen. That's
yeah,
the only reason you
I'm
bother to crack
absolutely.
open that
You
thing.
bet your dollars. I'm absolutely looking for
There
spoilers.
you go. So that's
Uh,
the point. That's the
That's what we're
point. You
saying,
don't
Wing.
actually like manhwa. You just are impatient and can't wait and want to figure out what's gonna happen. That's not the same thing, Omar.
Yeah, we're
no,
talking about actually enjoying it and reading it, and you don't seek those things. Like Weeb has read like 500 or 600 different manga and manhwa. You've read like five. That's why I said you can't.
yeah, because
But I
I
know why. But that's what I'm saying. The reason why is because for you need that. Me and we both appreciate that, including Morgan. We appreciate the voice acting, right? I get the difference in when I read what happened in Naruto before he had there was a specific fight that happened and I couldn't wait to see it animated. And you get the sounds, you get all the other stuff. It's not that I don't
Yeah, the
like
voice
that,
acting
but
makes me
that is the entire production versus whether or not one character is voiced in that particular video game as it pertains specifically to video games. uh hit Joker's emotion and how he feels about each situation throughout Persona 5 is perfectly relayed through his actions, the way he reacts, and the choices that you choose when you're reacting to your characters and the way that he interacts with them. It's perfectly conveyed. I don't need it. And at the same time, we're not going to say that voice acting is perfect, because voice acting has many a times ruined the experience for me.
Yeah.
Like, they have done a terrible job voice acting, and
Interesting.
it's killed it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
Some games can have terrible voice acting, but then every voice actor is that terrible then, or just the main character.
No, I'm not saying every. I'm saying, but a terrible voice actor at the same time.
Okay.
Bad voice
So
acting
see,
can
but
can
that's what I'm
murder
saying.
it.
okay,
Take you out. Yeah, exactly.
I
That's what I was just about to say. That
Yeah.
terrible voice acting can take you out, but a lack of voice acting does not take me out of an experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
terrible voice acting will definitely take me out.
Yeah, like Young Ye's recent performance. When I heard that for the
Oh yeah.
first time, I was like, "Oh my
Which one?
god!"
Yeah, I was like,
When Young Ye's recent
oh,
performance in
yeah, it's
Dragon
gonna be in
and
Japanese anyway.
I didn't.
But I was just like, oh no,
well, you heard
yeah,
the one. You heard
and
the
it's just
one
like,
that
Yeah,
Morgan
yeah,
showed
I
you
didn't play
in
the game.
Mortal
I heard.
Kombat recently, with
oh yeah, Megan Fox.
Megan
Oh
Fox.
yeah.
You heard that?
Megan
Megan,
Yeah,
was
she was like,
atrocious.
I will kill you and your whole people, and they will die. And I was like, what in the fuck
yeah,
am I listening to? So that's what
yeah. I'm saying,
yeah.
see, exactly.
So like,
That'll take me out of an experience.
I'm not.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And the important thing is, though, I think that it's like the human experience isn't one dimensional. We don't convey emotions solely through words. It's in our
Exactly.
actions, it's in our
Exactly. Yep.
expressions, it's in the things that we do. Like, and you are you are solely linking it to just
To
words.
voice. Yeah.
And there's so much more that can be conveyed. Yeah, exactly, a voice more specifically. And there's so much more that you can convey without having to speak. And that's what we're talking about. Like when, Anae said about Joker, like there's just so much more to him than, a lack of words. Like you see everything through, like you said, the actions he does, the relationships he makes, the choices that we make for him. Like it's just there's so much more. Same thing with like Link. Like the things that he does, the actions he takes through the world, the way he interacts with NPCs and the choices that you make for your character. It's just those are like I get a lot more from a character through those things than an actual voice. So that's at
And
least that's for me. Like
interesting. As for me, I am imagine games like Persona, not Persona. What's his name? Aloy or Kratos. Like their voice actors, legendary.
I mean,
With Aloy,
they did a great job. So we appreciate those, but we also appreciate the other spectrum and what it's capable of showing you. Like, I mean, one of the most
yeah,
legendary things, which you
liking
probably don't
one doesn't
remember, is
mean
like
that
the
we hate the other.
yeah,
Like we appreciate both.
yeah. We
Like
have an
I appreciate
appreciation
great
for
voice
both.
acting, and
okay,
I appreciate a great silent protagonist.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna I'm gonna rephrase it, cause hating would mean I'm gonna rephrase it. I tolerate it. I tolerate it, the thing if it doesn't go my way, but I would absolutely not drop a
You would
game
prefer it,
or not play a
right? You would
game
prefer
because it
voice
doesn't have
acting.
voice acting. Like fucking like at the end of the day, I'm a gamer. I'm not gonna take my own excitement out of the game because one main character is not voice acted. Like no, but it's going to stick like a sore thumb at the end of the day when all your other characters are voiced except for you. And that's where I'm left out of the loop for me. But you guys can enjoy it even without voice acting, and that's great.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's why I said it makes sense as to why it bothers you so much, because like I said, that's the same issue you have when I point out stuff to you with manhwa, why it's so hard for you and why you refuse to read it despite
no,
me and we
no,
being deep in it.
manhwa. It's also the animation. I'm an anime fan.
I
I'm
mean,
not.
so am
Uh,
I, but that's what I'm saying. You haven't experienced it to know. But the big problem for you
Wait,
is that you don't have the rest of it to go with it. You want that entire production, and that's the only way you refuse that's the only way that you uh will consume that particular content.
I used to consume content like manga, reading, and it was only because I couldn't. It was not available audio.
That's my point though. That's
That
the
yeah,
only
that's what we're saying.
reason.
It's
Yeah,
like you
like
only doing it
Weeb is not
Yeah,
because
doing
it's
it
the
because of
only
that.
option.
Yeah, he
yeah, you're
wants
doing
to
it
consume
because
it
of
that way.
love. Yeah,
Yeah, and like that's why I said manhwa. You don't have enough experience because you've never read manhwa, so that doesn't
um,
compute with you. But I said manhwa, not manga.
no,
Like
I'm thinking if I read manga or not.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like the way that I was explaining to you, even with solo leveling, you refused to read it, even though I told you you would have been well ahead and actually understood what was going on with the story, and explained to you that the pacing for the action and stuff like that was a lot better, but you
Yeah,
couldn't consume it because you only wanted it in the full production format. Like
even if
that's the
it,
same. That's what I'm saying. You literally do not want it in that format. Me and
yeah,
Weave and lots of people around the world like it in that format. Not
yeah,
comparing manga specifically, because personally I don't really like manga, but
even.
I have other issues with manga, with that's mainly
Mhm.
with it being black and white, and
I was
a
about
lot
to
of stuff
say,
getting messy in black and white. I don't like that.
yeah, even with the manhwa being colored, I go out of my way. If I wanna consume manhwa, I will go out of my way and look up on YouTube, either voiced or no, basically
Yeah,
voiced.
so you need it, like Morgan said, because
Yeah,
you
you can say,
you refuse, and I literally, people who actually read this stuff do not do recaps and stuff like that, like manhwa recaps and shit. That shit that's on YouTube that people be doing, fuck that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Also, that's way too slow. But yeah, either way,
I feel you, but I feel way more
I get what you're saying.
immersed in the story.
Yeah, you're not going to not play it, but what you essentially mean is you prefer. But
Yeah, you
I
have a
in
prefer it,
preference.
yeah.
yeah, in his case though, I 100% disagree that it doesn't work. So that's what the real argument
Mm.
is him saying it doesn't work currently. And to me, I don't like that, because again, that speaks to what I said about my issue that I was having with a lot of Japanese creators right now, specifically Japanese JRPG
Yeah, a
creators.
lot of time.
Yeah, they keep coming up with these hard lines based on Western ideals that they think will no longer work. Like the whole thing with you know, the I forget his name right now, but the director or whatever for Final Fantasy 16. He
Yoshi P.
Yoshi
yeah,
P.
Yoshi P, when he was like, "No, we're going action because basically people are impatient these days. Kids these days want instant gratification
That was so
and
fucking
reactions."
insulting.
And I was like, "That's bullshit, bro." I was like, he thought that game was going to sell like 20 million by going action based, and the game still only sold like over 3 million or whatever. Like
Yeah,
it's sold about the same it always
Yeah.
does. And it was like, so you abandoned your fans of the other types of things that you particularly like to do. Now, this is different, right? Because people are arguing things. I'm talking about what he said and that it's not working. Now, if you specifically want to just design your game that way and that's how you want to go going forward, and that's your design change or elemental choice, I have no problem with that. But
you
saying
do
the other
you.
doesn't work, no, you couldn't get it to work. or you didn't want to put in the effort to get it to
Mhm.
work. Because now look at the fanfare, like Morgan brought up earlier, behind the new game that was revealed from on the Xbox
Expedition
showcase,
33.
Expedition 33.
You can set it
Exactly.
free.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there
But
is tons of space out here for that to work. And that's why I
yeah,
said I feel like he's doing the same thing with the silent protagonist thing, trying to say it doesn't work. And it's like, no, it can work. You just have to do it right. You need to hone your craft, and you need to do it correctly in order for the emotions and the things to be conveyed. Like Morgan was saying, like we have no problem getting the emotion of Joker and the things that he goes through and things like that in proximity with the people around him, the actions that happen, and the situations they go through. I mean, he has full blown conversations with the person who's even interviewing him. Like, he just doesn't verbally talk, but I have no problem understanding his conveyed emotions. Now, I get people, and I get your preference for it, but like I said, in his case, him saying it doesn't work, I 100% disagree with that. And I've definitely had times where I'm like, now sometimes it does. I will say it does annoy me sometimes when they split it, um, where it's like they'll talk for like 10 seconds in a cutscene, and then immediately just go back to reading. Like, I wish they would just do one or the other. Like, sometimes that drives me crazy when they flip flop between speaking and not
Yeah.
speaking. Like, that could somebody, because like sometimes I'm like, I'm relaxed and I'm just listening to it, and then I immediately have to start reading, and I'm like, wait, like, that's weird. Like, so yeah,
Mhm.
flipping between the two is
It's so
annoying.
funny. Yeah, because I'll be like, oh, okay, we're getting into like a cutscene or a little conversation piece. I can get up and like grab me a snack or something. So I'm listening, and then all of a sudden it gets quiet, and I'm realizing it's going by words. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go back to the screen so I can go back and make sure I
Exactly.
don't miss anything. Um, but luckily, a lot of JRPGs have that little feature where you can like go back and read dialogue. But yeah, it definitely throws you off sometimes when they
yeah,
decide to put it together like that of speaking and not speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
it
agree
can
with you.
it definitely throw you off.
That script should be a thing. Sometimes you miss something, you really wish you could go back and read it.
Oh yeah, they should always
Mhm.
include that and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
the script thing where you can go back
yeah.
and read it. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
super helpful.
So I'm
Some
grateful that PS5 has like the share button now. So a lot of times, like if I'm missing something didn't read something, or I skipped over something, I'll clip the last 30 seconds and go back and read it, and
That is
then
a brilliant
look at it that
feature.
way.
That is a brilliant
It's a
feature.
great feature. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh shit, let me go back and get this last minute real quick. I missed it, and I'll go back and
Absolutely.
look at it. But yeah,
But yeah, like I said, at the same time, like I said, we don't. Like I said, it's not a either or. Like I said, I just disagree with him that it wouldn't work. But yeah, we all definitely appreciate
yeah,
some great and amazing
it's
voice
something.
acting as well.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't want to go away personally. The silent protagonist,
mm,
if done right, like it's just something I really am enjoying a lot
Hmm.
playing these JRPGs. Like just listening to the rest of the cast or no cast or just kind of reading dialogue. I don't know. I just I really enjoy it because there's other aspects of the game that kind of speak to me, and it allows the world and the story that's trying to be told to be the main character more than the character. And I don't know, I kind of appreciate it a lot
Yeah,
of times.
like you said,
It's a nice
Joker is a
change of pace.
vessel. In that case.
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice change of pace for me. I just I enjoy it. If done right, like because like anything, there can be games where it just doesn't come across well, right? Whether it's voice acting or no voice acting. Because if, like I said, if your other aspects of the game have to be strong in order to you know get away with or properly convey the no talking protagonist. So there are cases where it just doesn't work, but
Yeah, for sure.
for the most part,
It
the
can be
games I
done
played,
bad.
I enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah. I 100% agree. Yeah,
I
that
mean, one of
I have,
the
I have a question.
it
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
thought you were done.
Oh, no, my bad, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts. I'm gonna ask my question.
I was just gonna say, like, it seems to be, it was a real popular trope, back in the day, especially like early Nintendo with like before Mario could speak, and he was just doing, the little whoo, all that stuff, and then,
Yeah.
back in the day uh, with Seamus, before, I think there's some games where she speaks, but before they even revealed that it was a she, I don't think. Correct me
Oh,
if I'm wrong, Lee. I
Samus.
don't think she talked at all. In the Metroid series.
Morgan,
Um,
why do you think that Seamus is Irish?
Oh, because she said Seamus.
yeah. But it's just like, yeah, it's just some of the world's most popular characters, they never really, I mean, they might have them now, as time goes on, but they started off with no voice acting, and it was just the game itself was just good. You didn't really need it. The story and the
To,
gameplay
to,
carried, and people.
to be fair, the only game where Samus has voice acting is also the worst Metroid game ever
Yep, there you
made.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Would you rather
There
have
you go.
Would you rather have a talking main character or a mute on the road?
Mhm.
Mute.
Mute.
Um,
Interesting.
On the
are you
road?
are you asking about Metroid?
No. Like for example, Aloy. Would you rather have her be mute or talk active on the road while
Well, I mean,
you?
she's already established, so
Why do you
as
keep saying?
talking, so
Why do you
it
keep
kind
saying
of
on
kind
the
of be
road
weird.
though?
I'm talking in
What's
general. If you're playing a game, would you rather
oh
your main character
oh
to be talk active or like have a thought on mind,
oh I don't I
interact
don't I
with?
don't I don't
Yeah.
have a preference
Yeah, I
because
don't really
it
have a
just I just want
preference.
it to be good.
Yeah, I just want it to be
I just
Mhm.
good.
want it to be good,
Yeah, that I don't have a preference. Like,
right?
yes, like no, I don't want a character who is established as speaking, like Aloy, to just all of a sudden be mute. No, like she has a specific persona
No,
already
I
and a
am.
particular
I
way she
am.
goes about things.
That's
But
where you're
but
misunderstanding
but
me.
but
For
Metroid is a perfect example
mm,
where you don't want to have a protagonist who actually talks a lot, because that's you're supposed to feel sort of the loneliness, right? That you're all alone in an alien world and nobody to talk to. So I mean that's part of the atmosphere, right?
you're
Okay. Yeah.
misunderstanding me. I am not. I said Aloy as an example. It can be any total new game in
Yeah, but
general.
that's what I'm saying. I don't have a preference. Like I
Okay,
just want it to.
so
I
that's
want
your
it to be
answer.
good.
You are,
Yes.
you don't have a preference. And Morgan,
No, I don't have a preference.
you don't you don't have a preference. And you, William?
No. I just want the game to be good.
I mean, it's also a silly question again, because it depends on the context. Like Morgan and Renee say, it needs to be good. It needs to
Yeah.
fit, and
It
like
needs to
that, it needs
fit.
to fit.
That's the more important
So,
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it needs
okay.
to fit.
So,
Like I don't
mm,
but
expect people to be silent in a
uh,
fighting game. Like it's a fighting game. They make noise. They say shit. They antagonize the
yeah,
person.
yeah, no. Okay,
Uh,
then I get you.
but to be
Yeah.
fair, I'd say like for example, Aloy, there's a great example in that there was some critique in the second game that she talked a bit too much, and I agree with that
Yeah.
in terms of that they had a lot of, when you were trying to figure out the puzzle, she would just give you the answer. And she had a lot of times where just these general lines, where I said like, and I think they
Mhm.
patched it in eventually, but that's an example where less is more. And it kind of depends on the protagonist. Like I don't need Doom guy from Doom to be talkative, because that's not his character.
that's not his character.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
Uncharted. I mean, Nate talking a lot. That's part of his charm. He makes jokes, he makes quips. That's part. Like if he was a protagonist who was was very taciturn, who didn't talk much, that wouldn't be the same character.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I don't really have a preference.
Yep.
Like we've said, it just needs
Okay.
to fit. Like that's why when you brought up her as an example, that's why I said it wouldn't work, because she's established that way, right? It's the same way, like I've mentioned before. Typically, like I've seen a lot of people where it's the argument. It's the same thing that happens with the argument of the established character versus the created character, right? Like I can give you
Mm-hmm.
games where I love the created character, and I would never want them to change that to some established character I couldn't customize. Like, and then at the same time, there's ones where I'd never want to create a character, you know, and I love the established character, like Snake in Metal Gear. Like those are
Mhm.
established characters for a reason. It tells a specific story and it works really, really well. Tomb Raider, same thing. Aloy, same thing. But like,
Kiryu.
yeah, Kiryu, exactly. Like those are really
Mm-hmm.
specific. But then a more ambiguous character that is meant to be an entity or stand for like a status symbol is Mass Effect. You are Commander Shepard no matter what you do. Commander Shepard is a person or an ideal, um, but you create the character because no matter what, your last name is Shepard and you are this character. Your created character embodies that character, and that's the vessel you play through. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not an established character. It's still a created character. It's just that your last name is that specific thing. So that's how they kind of gave you a bit of both. Like Commander Shepard is this particular thing. You can be evil, you can be good, you can make decisions, you affect the world around you, you affect the people around you, but it's still a created character at the end of the day. And I wouldn't
I
want it
love
any other way.
I love Talia voice acting.
Yeah.
I wish Commander Ever would talk to her, but I get you. But to me, and this is maybe just me, I get bored if my character is not voice acted. And
Um,
Yeah,
when
that's the
I
I,
get
ADHD.
yeah, I
and
mean,
when I get bored, I tend to then mute the music and just listen to
Mute
podcasts.
the music.
Yeah,
Lord have mercy.
Oh,
because
eh.
I I am more gameplay focused. But if it's story driven, I'm gonna absolutely not mute the music. It's all about the moment, eh?
Yeah, but that has to do with pacing and a bunch of
Yeah.
other stuff. Like you
Yeah,
have to, if something, it's the same thing we asked you at the podcast. If we don't have interesting topics or topics that make sense to have a discussion about, then why would
we
you expect
we
people to
skip it.
listen? Yeah, like what? Yeah, or we particularly will skip that week. Like
Yeah,
that's why you have to consider those things. It's the same thing. But anyway, it was a great discussion. Podcast was awesome. Thank you everybody who showed up in the chat. Sanctus, Wara, Hero, Seafresh, whoever else showed up. I might miss anybody, but again, thank you for joining us. It had a lot of
Right.
fun. Topics turned out to be awesome from, you
great
know,
show.
yeah, what we thought we were gonna have versus what we had. I really, really love the topics. The
Uh,
conversation was really dynamic. Everybody gave really dope answers, and the chat
Yep.
participated a ton. But yeah, Morgan, outros. Where can the people find you?
Uh, you can kind of find me on Twitter. I'm not really on there anymore. Um,
She's like, I'm too busy
you're
since
a
Twitter
gaming.
nest.
decided, I've been trying to share clips for the past week on Twitter, but for some reason, I keep getting this error message like you can't post. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on with that. Like I want to share gameplay, but it won't let me.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but hopefully that'll get fixed. And you'll see more because I've been trying to post Kinetsugami gameplay on the timeline, but that look the anti gamer gods are against me apparently. Um,
Oh
so
boy.
yeah, but you guys can find me on Twitter. Just, lurking in the shadows at Chill Bandit. Hopefully getting a decent amount through the game. Maybe finish the first playthrough. Hopefully working on the second and trying to get the plat. And then moving on to whatever is coming next. Got to look at the calendar to see what's next. But one thing that's consistent is I'm gonna be gaming. So
Absolutely. Weeb, where can
Otter
the
Nation.
people find you? Outer Nation.
Our nation. Yeah, you can also find me lurking on Twitter. No, Elon, I'm not gonna call it X, no matter how much you cry. Um, y- and yeah, I will be doing the same thing. Gaming. I'll probably will try to finish. I will get to your game, Morgan, when I have time. But I think I'll finish Neon White right now, and then yeah, I'll see how much time we have left until Star Wars drops.
Yeah, that's really the
Yeah,
battle
Yeah.
now because we're all starting Star Wars
exactly,
day one.
exactly.
Beat games till Star Wars.
Yep.
That's also kind of what sort of why I'm hesitating to pick up one of the bigger games in my backlog, because I'm not sure I'm gonna finish it in time. So
Absolutely.
but yeah, first world problems, right?
Right.
So yeah, great show, and Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Honor Nation.
And Karaba, where can the people find you, sir?
So first of all, shout out to everyone that came through. As you said, we had a totally different show planned to it turned out to be, which was fantastic to say the least. Very quick. Shout out to Nelson. He couldn't make it. He's on a vacation. I'm sure he's having fun. And I want to highlight one of our uncles that's doing none other than just gaming. He platinumed um, n- Morgan last game that she played, No Way to Die. And he also
Okay.
platinumed,
Nice, nice.
yeah, and he also platinumed Stellar Blade. And
Nice.
and that's Viper Reef. Shout out to him. Put in the work, as always. As for me, you can find me in Caravan Scorchab on Twitter and Vitamin G Podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
No
Again,
doubt.
great show, great conversation. Go play your games.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
And
Oh, another donation.
Otter Nation. This
Otter
nigga.
I
Nation it
always
is.
say it.
Otter Nation.
I have a pride to attest to.
Yeah, I know. And then again, I am your host, Innate. You can find me on Twitter at the real Innate. Like everybody said, gaming. Everybody have fun. Enjoy your games. If you missed the show, uh, you can always go back and hear the great discussion that happened. Shout out to Sunny. He made it right there at the end. Even though he's working, he caught the show on his break. He did say that Wolverine and Deadpool is killing him over there. He works at the movie theater. So yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going
yeah.
tomorrow,
He's
baby.
gonna have a
Yeah.
draft.
oh yeah.
He's gonna have a
I'm
draft.
excited.
But it's gonna you're gonna enjoy it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
seen
So,
it, Weeb?
I've seen it.
oh, okay. I didn't know you seen it
Oh,
yet.
what
He
would you
gave
rate
it
out of
an he
10?
gave it an 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
That's a solid
All
score.
right. All right. I'm excited though. I'm excited.
Yeah. It looks like everybody is really enjoying it. I know a couple of people went to see it already. I know the
The,
Ashen one, Luca, said she's setting up to see it again, uh,
yeah,
which says a
the
lot.
only the only person that I seen didn't enjoy it is Conrad. He gave it up the popcorn basket out of 10. He enjoyed the popcorn basket, but he didn't enjoy the movie. So yeah,
You can't win them all,
yeah, you
but
can win them all at the end of the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, it is what it is. But again, Otter Nation, and shout out to one of our otters not here because she is working and going hard in the streets, on her job. Shout out to Kay, who is listed on the bottom as well. It's
Yay.
Kaylee1103. We miss you. Keep working hard. You know what I'm saying? It ain't easy out here
We
in
love
these
A.
streets. But yeah, always part of the Otter crew, whether you hear or not.